is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing, 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 testicles, testicles. Welcome everyone to episode 1209 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beercast, broadcast, gangcast, mancast, pimpcast, sleazecast, and slaycast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. I need no introduction here to introduce everyone to the Slamcast. We got Alan Roberts from Every Damn Day Fitness. We got John from Obese to Beast. And unfortunately, Michelle could not make it today, so she's going to have to answer for her crimes to all of you. No, I'm kidding. She's dealing with something, and we wish her the best, and we will see her soon. Unfortunately, it can't always work out. The SWOLEVENGERS assemble. I got the whole sign back behind me that no one else can see, but we have partial SWOLEVENGERS. So we were just talking before we went live. Make sure everyone, when you come in, hit the like button. Make sure you check both of them out. Subscribe if you haven't already. Everyone's probably locked in here, but we're talking about the videos that we've been posting lately, and we were just recently, just before we went live, talking about Michelle's recent video. We're talking about, was it Sonali Rachatoire? We're talking about the psychosis and how real that shit is. So, Alan, why don't you start? Introduce yourself briefly, because everyone pretty much knows you, but then jump into all of that. And then, John, we can get that little round table going just to get everyone up to speed.
Alan Roberts, Every Damn Day Fitness. You motherfuckers know where to find me. But just I want to take care of your monetization in case you missed the nuts on chin thing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We were talking about Michelle from My Thoughts Will Probably Offend You. Her video, that was fucking poignant as fuck. I was so impressed with how I love it when people take somebody's argument and just destroy them with it. Like, they take their own argument. I have this thing I often say, I don't actually roast people. I just narrate their idiot moments. You know what I mean? I'm just the narrator of their stupidity. And she pointed out that Sonia Lee basically is advocating for gay conversion therapy. And it's fucking brilliant, because this woman talks about how you can train yourself to be attracted to people that you're not attracted to. And that is truly like what gay conversion therapy is like. Before we got on, I personally believe you're gonna like who you're gonna like, everything like that. It's, to me, when people have used it as an insult, calling me gay, that's not an insult to me, because you have to find it offensive. I don't see the attraction, but if somebody does call you gay, if that's the first insult you have, I think that maybe you should evaluate yourself. If that's the first thing you think about to call somebody, maybe you should evaluate yourself. You might have some repression going on. But secondly, if you take it as an insult, maybe you should check out what you got going on too. But I thought that video was fucking great. I think all you guys been putting out fucking killer ass videos lately, man. Just fucking rock solid, on point, how shit needs to go. My big thing when we all started doing this was, getting okay, everybody's got big enough biceps now. Everybody's getting sick and fucking diabetes and dying. Let's actually address this shit. We are real actual fitness professionals. Let's make sure people are healthy. And I think that you guys have been fucking killing it.
Well, you can see the passion from everyone. And John, you're the most OGest of all the content creators on this platform right now in terms of fitness. Since you made content recently, was that today? You dropped a video about her today. So what's your opinion on it? I have, just so you guys know, because you can't see on your screens, we got the screen names and stuff, you're at, hashtag right below. There you go. So you did one today titled The Radical Lies of Sonali Rachatoire. And I found out about this person through one of Alan's first videos. And then, of course, once you start going down the rabbit hole, you're like, oh, look at this. Oh, listen to this. I went down the rabbit hole, and I still have more content. I just haven't completed yet about the Instagram nutritionist. You go one, and then it's one, and then someone sends you something else, and then it spreads. But
I was going to send you something on that. Dude, I was you should see this.
Send it.
I think I screenshotted it.
Go ahead.
With Sonali, man, I think I might have found out through Alan as well, because he's the savage that just gets everything, man.
But shit gets sent to me. I don't do that.
Yeah, it's the same thing now for me, which is awesome, and I really appreciate it. Sometimes people send me stuff, and I'm like, I'm not gonna make a video on that. It's just
there's too much information to go and see everything. But when you got hundreds of thousands of followers, and it's you have all those
Yeah.
times 2 eyes, you know, and it's good. It picks up on all the shit that. But the cool thing about that, I was thinking about it. It's like, oh man, but they're doing the work. It's like, no, they're the ones that are actually receiving this content. They're seeing it in their feed. They're getting it shared to someone else. Like, whoa, wait a second, this looks like bullshit. And they send it to one of us who make a video, and then it gets showered down. So it makes a big difference. But go a little bit more into what your bone to pick. Because it said at the end, it says parentheses, I am mad. I got so excited when I saw I am mad. I'm like, oh, and then you're like, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm like, he's not mad.
I might take care of that shit.
I get, yeah.
Alan's
right,
like,
Alan
the fucking lies. I'm like, there we go. All right, he's mad. He doesn't have to put that in his title.
I mean, when I get mad, I don't like Hulk out, but it's, well, one, the reason I had to change the name of that to hopefully get it monetized, it still didn't work because I had her in parentheses before it was her name, the fat sex therapist, and like that obviously got demonetized. Yes. So I redid it and it's still demonetized, but whatever, that's fine. So the article that I actually referenced in the video, we were talking about it a little bit before, but I found it because, again, someone tagged me on Reddit. It was actually the CrossFit subreddit, and they were saying, because part of the article, the part that they were like kind of annoyed with, I would assume, is she was saying that a big reason she thinks it's not surprising that the Christchurch shooter was into fitness, because when you're into fitness, it's white supremacist, it's Nazism, because it's eugenology or something like that, eugenics. So it's like, because we're striving to be better and like improve ourselves, we're somehow that's Nazism, suppressed Nazism. And so like that was the reason that they posted that, right? And then someone tagged me and said, I would love to hear your opinion on this. And so at first I read it, and it's not just about that though, because in the same article she's talking about how putting a child on a diet is the same as sexual assault. And I'm just like,
sexual assault.
Sexual
assault. We're not talking about verbal abuse, like you're,
sexual
stabbing
assault.
at someone's psyche. We're talking it's the same as like sticking your, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
stop.
It's because you can't consent. So that's the whole thing. And again, like there are certain ways that I might agree with some of that stuff. Like I think putting your kid, like we talked about Kurbo, the app that Weight Watchers has, like forcing them with a really restrictive diet and like teaching them really bad habits at the start is not a good idea.
Right.
Would I say it's the same as sexual assault? No. And so that was kind of the article. But the thing that like what the video is mostly about, at least in my eyes, is that this article was written because she was giving a speech at a college. And that is what was like this, like her rhetoric that she spews out there is being taught to kids. And she's getting paid, right, to go to these colleges and say this stuff. And it's very clear, at least to me, I think that I honestly wouldn't be surprised if she didn't really believe what she was saying, but if she understood that the more ridiculous the things she says, the more people are going to talk about it, the more articles are going to get written, the more people are going to be like, oh yeah, I've heard of this girl, we'll have her at our college. But my whole thing was, it's being taught to kids as almost like not an opinion, but as like it's fact.
Yeah.
So
that's a Teen Vogue thing that we were talking about today, and just and the fact that she's teaching at schools, I didn't know that until Alan said that she was giving speeches at schools. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not sexual assault, because it's literally not. That's why there's a name for sexual assault. It's a separate fucking thing. It's a separate definition.
It's so insulting to survivors of sexual
Absolutely
assault.
Is. It's
fucking so. The comparison is absolute. It's the comparison she makes. Almost all of them. I think John has a good point. I think they're done to incite emotion. Because when she talks about how fat phobia is similar to racism and colonialism, and colonialism, like me being upset that you're eating yourself to death is not the same thing as fucking colonialism. Like, I mean, racism, like I have never experienced personally racism, because I haven't, but I have personally seen racism, and it is not a fucking pretty thing. And people should be ashamed of themselves when they equate shit to it. It is its own monstrous entity that's horrible and disgusting. It's like same like sexual assault. Like, you fucking really, like a diet. Like that. John, I think I hadn't even thought about that. Does she really believe this shit? I think she's fucking crazy. I really do. But the fuck?
That's the
You know,
problem.
like,
That's the extremist when you have, and the news started this, the sensationalism, and that's why you get those extremes. And it comes down to, again, like I've made the videos recently, and Alan, you've done it on the challenges. I think you've probably talked about it. I mean, you've definitely talked about it, John, the mukbangs and those types of things. Like it has to keep on going more extreme. It was kind of like that with parkour and building climbing, and then people are hanging off of fucking skyscrapers because it's like any kind of drug. You need a bigger dose to get a hit. Like we're watching movies like The Avengers, and wow, it's awesome. But like we're getting numb to amazing special effects. We're getting numb to all this stimulation, and it becomes background noise. So how do you level up and break through the noise? I mean, that's why a lot of this content is cutting through because of the whole PC. Everyone's afraid to talk. And then you have a few people that are speaking up against these really aggressive, or edgy issues. And it stands out because people are like, oh shit, like finally we're actually talking about things that are real, and it's different. So people are attracted to it. But then, what are you doing for the views versus, or do you have a purpose or a passion behind it? And that's why, like Alan was saying at the beginning, like everyone's content here, the whole crew, and it just feels like the message is solid and consistent. And the reason is because it actually has merit and there's substance. It's not just different feelings floating around. We're actually talking about hard, actual truths.
I mean, I think like even this morning, I my video today on the Teen Vogue thing, I tried to make sure like to put emotion in it too. Like that's why my you guys have all met my wife. She's like a very critical thinker, like very like. We'll sit back, she does a much better job than I do of seeing every viewpoint, And I shared on it like something she wrote on Instagram yesterday where she's talking about what self-love is, like how people like self-love. If you feel that self-love is not changing yourself at all, that's not, because we evolve as people, like I'm an extremely different person even than I was 3 years ago, just from the stimulus that I've been around with social media and YouTube. And I'm definitely different than when I was in high school, and definitely different than when I was in my early 20s. Like I'm evolving as a person, and I try to always do that in a better way. If you put yourself to a position where you are preaching don't change anything about you at all, that is not actual health. That's not really good for you. Like, is it educating yourself? Like, if I want to if I want to go back and get a PhD, is that me not loving myself now, or is that me loving myself enough to actually want to educate myself and help other people? Shit like that. Like, I just find the arguments to be so fucking paper thin and based on emotion that people are, they don't want to be told the harsh shit. And we talk about it all the fucking time. But the problem is, I think every time we push, like, our crew and other people, like Charlie Gold, I know James from Shredded Sports Science has made some videos about it. I see other people doing it. I see some people just trying to fucking, get the views with it. I really, really do. You know who the fuck you are. That's why I didn't answer your emails, motherfuckers. Anyway. Yes. Other shit, like, I see it, the message getting across, right? But then they do shit like swing it the complete other way. It's Teen Vogue now. There's an article in Teen Vogue, and I did a video on it today, and so did you, Dash, where they're talking about the celebration of what it is to be fat. Been fat, not something to celebrate. Okay, John?
Yeah, not something to celebrate.
I don't know. When I have to like hold my breath to tie my shoes, not really. I don't feel like celebrating, motherfuckers. I don't. I certainly didn't then. I absolutely fucking didn't. And by the way, I was a yogi and could box jump like 48 inches. Still had to hold my breath to tie my shoes. Mm-hmm. There's nothing to fucking celebrate. And I think collectively we might have like 1 million subscribers, and John's the bulk of that shit, right? And it's Teen Vogue.
Stay away from our fucking kids, man. It's like, stay away from our kids. Stay away from them.
That's the thing. It's Teen Vogue. It's Cosmopolitan magazine. It's the reach that they have. People want, like, I get shit all the time. All you do is talk about Tess. Well, she'll shut the fuck up, so will I. Mm-hmm. If she Teen Vogue, like, now it's teenage girls. For real.
Always the most impressionable, even when it was the stickly, thin, modeling. Yeah. Like Victoria's Secret was maxing on that and there's always these little like protests and things where we need plus size gear, we need plus size this. People are going to go where the business is, where there's money. Mm-hmm. So what's interesting is I don't necessarily fault these companies, because I had a bunch of people remember the videos. I made one, Alan, you made one about the Nike plus size. Look, people are obese. That's the fact. The majority, but they need to wear clothes. You know, they need to put things on. There's nothing wrong with having things for people that are obese, but then you're pandering, because then your business is about obesity. You don't necessarily want to change it. So there's kind of like a push-pull. It's kind of like, I mean, Nike's okay, you lose weight, then you're wearing smaller clothes. But then I've been getting ads or seeing stuff for supersized beds for obesity. And then you have all these different kind of things that are going to cater to that. So there's business around it. And then it just gives more and more reason for these types of groups or movements to not encourage change. And it's not that we have to like shame people. I think that's where it gets the rub. People think that we're talking about the people. And that's why the conversation, the debate, and the argument, quote unquote, always pushes towards emotion, because you cannot debate emotion. You can't debate feelings. Right. That's the challenge. When that's your stance, fundamentally, that's why it keeps on getting shifted to political issues and to like government, like international political issues, and racial issues, because there's no substance. And then that's why it doesn't go away, because the real fundamental problem is the accountability, responsibility, entitlement, the victim mentality. It has nothing to do with fat acceptance. It's just their, quote, skill, because they don't have anything that they're really offering aside from, I'm big.
Mm. Yeah, I'm really happy that a lot of people that are larger are making videos talking about how they don't really support the health at every size movement. I think that's really, really important. Because it's easy to argue against any one of us, right? I used to be fat, but now I'm no longer fat. So like, how could you have an opinion?
You're
you
an
guys
ex-fat,
were never
bro.
like,
you're ex-fat.
Yeah, I'm an ex-fat, and you guys were never like morbidly obese, so you can't understand. But it's like the people that are currently right now dealing with obesity, like Charlie. There's actually a guy that tagged all of us in something. He reversed his type 2 diabetes from losing weight.
Yeah, I spoke to this morning.
Yeah, he was over like 400 pounds, and I think that that's really, really important, because it doesn't, like, we don't need to say that it's all bad or it's all good. What we need is real life stuff that people are dealing with. And so I think the argument with, Tess Holiday, I'm sure with Sonali would have the same thing, is we're not glorifying it, but it's like at the same time, you're not speaking the truth about what it's really like. Yeah. Like, it's a scary feeling not knowing, and like not knowing if you're going to live to be 45 years old. Right. Like, yeah, you can be overweight and live a pretty long life, for sure. I think I'm sure that's true. But you cannot be morbidly obese and live a very long life. And the life that you're living is not going to be very fun, No. And so I think that it's really important that people are making those videos, and I love seeing them. I love seeing those videos. The guy from Review Tech, same kind of thing. I commented on his video. I think that it's really important that we are real. Like, that's all we need to be, is just legit and real about what we're dealing with. And a lot of times it's these Instagram models, and it's the same. It's literally the same thing that you see on the fitness side of, oh, my life is so great, I'm fit, I have 6-pack abs, yada yada yada. Yeah, but it's like the people that actually have those are like, holy crap, I'm dieting for so long, I feel like terrible. Competing is like ruining my relationship with food. It's messed up my metabolism. It's messed up all of these things in my life. But the people that are in that moment, they don't want to share that stuff. It's not until they get out of it. Like for me, when I got out of competing, when I was done with the show, I realized, holy crap, that was really bad for me. It's the same thing when you finally flip that switch of like, oh, I need to lose weight because my health is really getting messed up. Then you can take a step back and be like, that wasn't a life that I really wanted to live. Someone commented on one of my recent posts, and I mean, I put a meme up that got a lot of comments, but one of the guys commented about that, and he said he truly thinks that, so he was like 300 something pounds, he's lost some weight, he still has some to go, but he was like, I don't think a lot of people that are morbidly obese realize how unhealthy they are, because you're just living in that, you're just living feeling like terrible, and I think that's a really important thing to that should be said, is that you don't realize, like, yeah, I knew that it was unhealthy to be as large as I was, and I really was afraid of dying. But at the same time, like, I think that if I felt today how I felt when I was 360 pounds, I would be like, holy crap, what is going on?
For sure.
Like,
you said when you fell back in the car, you said that story when, I don't know if that was when, I think that was when you or I were on the pod, when you said you fell back into your car, you got out and then you fell back in and you were like, ooh, that's really like something serious. That's really a stressful situation.
we have
There we go.
our graduating clients do like an appreciation thing. Like we were talking about before, we have them put on like 50 pounds and take a walk around. You know, I made a video about like, if you think it's okay to be morbidly obese, put on 50 pounds and walk around for a month. Do everything you fucking do with 50 extra pounds on you. See how you feel.
Your back would be jacked up. You feel so much.
Oh God, so fucking, it would hurt so bad. Your knees, everything like that, because your body's not used to it.
Yeah.
Because your body's not made for it. It's just absolutely not made for it. You know, like tomorrow, my video tomorrow is, because Review Tech talked about us last night, talked about my videos last night. So my video tomorrow is going to kind of try to encourage other people to follow Charlie's lead and Rich from Review Tech and a few other people's lead and talk about, like, we need people to really talk about openly and publicly what it's like to be, like, the reality of what it's like to be morbidly obese. Because you can glam that shit up and you can say you're awesome and living your best life. Though I'm living my best life. If you think that being morbidly obese is living your best life, you really have got shit skewed. I plea to you to just don't, get past my language. Get past the fucking swearing. Get past the shit like that. Grow the fuck up and realize that when I am telling you, if you think you're living your best life as morbidly obese, you are selling yourself so fucking short. You are selling your life so fucking short. It pains me to see that. I mean, it truly fucking does. Like Charlie Gold took this. I mean, if you guys aren't subscribed to Charlie Gold, you fucking should, because she's money on the fucking camera. Like, I mean, she has got the ability that a lot of people don't have. I think the three of us have it too, Michelle. I can just sit in front of a camera and I can talk like I'm just fucking talking. And a lot of people don't do that. It's very scripted and shit like that. But her video yesterday, I think it was last night or the one this morning, where she's talking, she reviewed Fatopia. She fucked it up, and like it's because they talk about this shit we were just talking about. It's colonialism and it's racism, and she was like, "I am an obese black woman. What are you gonna fucking say?" I was like, "God damn!" Like, yeah. Well, she put it on.
One of the things that I like what you said, Alan, and I 100% agree. We need more perspective from people that are in the situation. I made that video about Marsha the other day, and I think she said she reached out and messaged like you all as well, possibly. Like she was thanking people that made a big impact in her life, but she didn't have any subscribers and no one knew. So she's sending a message that's serious. No one's seeing it. Like it's because that, what do you think it is? Do you think it's because it's alluring that, wow, someone's so obese and it's just the climate that they're so proud, they're powerful, they're a strong person? Because if you embrace and you're all of a sudden go all in on fat acceptance, body positivity, start posting like nudes pretty much like of just you being obese and you get tons of followers, why would you send the opposite message? I mean, you're going to, because there's this gravitation, there's this thing where, okay, you're not going to post videos for the views, make good content and then the views will come. So you don't want to just pander to views. However, that's how you kind of know whether or not people are watching and if your videos are making an impact. But then if you're not paying close attention, you start getting too much into that sensationalist and you lose that contact with reality, and you just start doing and saying whatever it does to be like, wow, now I'm getting 500,000, 1 million. It's like, well, fuck it. I'll up it and do this. And then I'll say, hey, fat is the best way to be. And everyone's like, rrr. So it's kind of like, why would someone come out honestly and talk about it? Those people are usually embarrassed and they're really dealing with it and they're not socially inclined. It's just like you have two options.
The fucked up thing is they do get shamed by people, by fit people and non-obese people. They do get shamed. There are people out there that just say rude shit to be mean. It fucking happens. It happens to us all the fucking time. Like, I mean, like it. Oftentimes people that are like that. Like, I mean, I'm sure you guys take abuse, the man bun and fucking this, your loose skin, and I fucking the bald head.
Don't be jealous about the man bun, man.
Dude, I love bald. I mean, my fucking wife loves me being bald. So if I had your hair, I'd fucking shave it off anyway.
Bald acceptance. You watch your mouth.
Yeah.
You watch your.
But so there's that. So they get shamed that way. So coming out and saying, "Look at me, I'm obese," they get shamed that way. They really do. But they also get shamed from the fat acceptance movement. Those people are fucking savage when it comes to obese people speaking out. Like John, you were talking about the meme you posted, and everybody should go check out John's Instagram for that meme, because I made a few comments too, but I loved it. Where the one person's like, being rude to other obese people. They're like, the person's like, I'm obese and I'm telling you this is this, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, well, you can't tell just by looking at somebody if they're unhealthy. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Mm-hmm. I challenge anybody. Like, I forget if it was like, it might have been in a comment or something like that. It's not my original thing. Yes, that's it right there. It's not an original thing, but somebody told me, like, if Shaq wasn't healthy at 350 plus, are you? Like if he'll openly admit that at 350 plus pounds,
that was a good comment. Healthy, that was good.
Can't you? It's not mine originally. I can't take credit for it, but I just thought it was so poignant. Like, can't you admit you're not healthy if Shaq can? Like, a professional athlete who is 7'2", like if he's 7'2" and 350 plus and not healthy, you're not either.
And his size was like necessary for what he was doing too, which is like, which is fine. That's his job, right? So it's like whatever.
Also a lot of his was muscle. It was like his strength. So you talk about like that's actually like weight that can function. You're talking about someone who's less muscle mass, no bone density, no athletic, plus 100, 200 pounds more, and a 1.5 feet, 2 feet shorter. Holy shit.
And he's got a huge frame too.
Yeah,
an enormous frame.
I didn't mean to cut you off, John. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. About that post, there's a couple things that I wanted to say. The first thing is, it's interesting. So those posts and like the videos that I'm making now, obviously there are people that are not the biggest fans of those things. So like maybe people that have been following me for a while, people that have been supporters, fans, whatever you want to call it, right? And they're like, I'm not really feeling this content. For me, it's like, I understand that. I get it. Like, you didn't start following me because of that. But in my eyes, if I were to just continue posting the stuff that they wanted, because I feel like that's what they want, instead of posting what I really am passionate about and what I want to post. One, the videos aren't going to be as good because I'm not going to have any passion about it. And two, I'm not going to want to be talking about it. And so and it's funny because like on that post, Alan, you replied to the person, someone was like, oh, another post about this. And then they were a photography account and you're like, oh, another post about photography. It's almost like it's his job to post about these things. And it's but it's a good point. But at the same time, like for me, I've dealt with you post this too much on every like journey I've been on. So like when I was losing weight and I was posting a lot of before and afters, the comments were, you post too many before and afters. When I first started doing CrossFit and was really enjoying it and like enjoying sharing the journey, you post too much about CrossFit, which I mean, a lot of people do. And then like when I was doing the running stuff, you post too much about running. And now it's this. It's like people are always going to have that issue. So I've just kind of learned to be like, you know what, like I understand my content's going to change. And I think that if it didn't change, I would be dead in the water a long time ago. So it's like, it is what it is. And then the second thing that I wanted to talk about, and this is, I think, the more important part. The first thing was just something I guess I wanted to get off my chest.
But being afraid to, people don't change. People don't learn. My content's different than it was 3 years ago. So is yours. So is Alan's, because you change, you learn, and your perspective molds, and you fucking go deeper. I think that's an amazingly like important topic, because people just dig in, and that's the problem with this type of social kind of movement. Is okay, instead of having a conversation, oh, you're right, it is about feelings, maybe we can find a common ground or X, Y, and Z, even though the truth is kind of the common ground. And then they just dig in deeper and just push back against it. What was your second thing? What was the second part?
So the second thing was, I think Alan was saying it, was that all of our, like with us, the ones that maybe oppose the health at every size, all of our ideologies and the arguments that we have are pretty consistent across the board. That's the thing that is not at all the case when it comes to the health at every size. And I think that a lot of the people that say they're health at every size, they don't truly realize how radical it gets. Because I had a couple people like arguing with me, and then someone they actually messaged me in a DM, and I was like talking to them, and they truly didn't believe that there's people that maybe shame people for losing weight, or they didn't believe about like the radical sides of health at every size. Or like they were saying, oh, like nobody actually believes that you can be healthy and be obese at the same time. And I was just like, you're arguing me. And the only point that I really ever try to make is that you cannot claim to be morbidly obese and healthy. That's like the only claim that I really try to make with most of my videos, right? And I encouraged her to check out Sana Lee, and I was like, check her out. And she said, literally her words were something along the lines of, maybe I'll check it out tomorrow because it's been rough getting bashed for just voicing my opinion on social media. And I replied, welcome to the club, with a winky face. Like, I was like, that's what you were doing to me. Like,
you're going to put your stuff out in a public forum and then not get shit for it. Either you harden up and you don't let the comments bother you. You go on the offensive, you go Alan, you go like fucking, you're like Assassin's Creed when it comes to comments. Like Alan just comes in with the hood, just kind of goes in, just like some quote innocent person leaves a comment like 5 deep, and then Alan's over there just like, fucking there you want the second account, come in like ninja.
Yeah, second account.
Just comes with like the 2 knives, like it just disappears into the shadows.
One of my favorite video games too. I was playing that the other day.
Yeah,
Pretty good run.
How'd I guess?
That and Sniper.
Just fucking just pick them off one at a time. Yeah, there's
mental health break.
The I forgot what I was just gonna say. What would you finish up with, John? What were you just talking about? That second part.
Just the inconsistencies with their ideologies.
Right.
At every size.
It's completely, well, that's because everyone's feelings are different. And that's the whole point. We're not talking, we are on the common ground. That's a really good point, that there's no inconsistency. We all have our own delivery and we have our own but the fundamental message is, okay, you got to be healthier for you. Yeah. I'm even going, I like to make hard-hitting content because it slaps people and wakes people the fuck up, but you have to find, I think people feel like there's one way to do it, and anyone that goes against obesity is saying, no, you have to do it this way, with this diet, with this. There are so many ways to build muscle. That's one of the beautiful things about bodybuilding or building muscle. Like, should I do high reps or low reps? It's like, fucking, you could do both. I mean, you have to, it's about that progressive overload. There's tension. I'm not going to go into all the exercise physiology, but you all know this. There's different ways to build muscle. There's different ways to go about it. There's different diets. You don't like bread, then don't fucking eat bread. You get bloating from, then don't fucking eat pasta. I mean, you can get away with it, then fucking get away with it. It's like, do what you want, as long as you have the knowledge. And John, we talked previously about education, just having the knowledge is so important. And Alan, obviously, your knowledge is everything. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is, it gives you the ability to make decisions based on the reality, not just on how you feel. And I think all of us and every person watching, listening, you're going to wake up and feel shitty. You're going to wake up and not be depressed, but be in a low mood and be in a funk. You look in the middle and be like, I feel in the mirror, I feel tight. I feel flat. I don't feel like doing this, or things are going great, but it just doesn't feel like it's going great. It's kind of stressful for the day. That's human nature. You're going to fluctuate day to day, but it's about finding that truth and that purpose and looking at the objective data and just moving on one day at a time and just doing your best. I think people try to follow a path, and that's why you have all these different names of different diets and different exercise styles. Like, just, you have to find what works for you. You can customize. People don't customize their lives enough because they're programmed to follow and answer and do from school and work. It's like, do this, okay. And then people get stressed and frustrated because they're put into a box that doesn't necessarily fit them.
Right. Well, I mean, it's the same thing with coaching. Like, we don't coach any, like, we've got 100 and some clients right now between us and our coaches, and we don't coach any client the same. Ever. And I never will. I have some, obviously with workouts, there's some baseline, like, okay, this person will probably do better with higher volume. This person will do better with a hypertrophy program. This person will do better walking. This person will do better running. This person will do better swimming. We have a lot of clients that don't lift weights, that we don't have them lift weights. Like, why the fuck would I try to teach you from distance how to fucking lift weights? I just want you to do the thing you fucking love to do. If you literally just love walking your dog, let's walk your dog twice today. It'll help be good for you and your dog. I wish I could walk Awesome Sauce. What the fuck? She needs it. God damn. But people that think that there's just one way to do shit that's not going to help society, because also it gives, like, we need to start taking away the excuses of people to not be healthy. It's like the one that I think has been completely debunked, that people always go back to it, is that poor people can't eat healthy.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It drives me fucking crazy.
Yeah, that one.
It actually almost makes you eat healthy. Like, I mean, it almost does. Like, buy a big bag of fucking rice, buy, some greens, and buy some, lean meats, even lean ground meat, and live on that shit.
Eating healthy is too expensive, Alan. It's too expensive.
Yeah, but fuck, a bag of rice at Costco is like $25, and it literally $25. That bag of rice for $25 will last you like months.
It'll last through a nuclear winter. Like that shit's like a cockroach. It'll stay.
It's shelf stable. It's just not like it. You're talking convenience food isn't cheap. you know. And
Well,
but that's when it's been debunked. But like other stuff is like, oh, the diets don't work thing. I posted about that the other day. Like 95% of diets don't work. Show me the fucking study, bitches. Show it to me. And there's a couple that like kind of imply it. But first of all, the one that gets credited the most was from like one of the books from the originator of the fat acceptance community. And it's from 10 years. The article, the study-ish, got published like, and it's a review study. So it's a review of a bunch of other studies. It got published fucking almost 10 years ago, and some of the fucking data is from like 1980. So fuck you, motherfuckers. Yeah. Show me something recent, because like to say you can be healthy at every size, just like John said, is ridiculous. Ridiculous. It's so fucking foolish. I can't even get over it. I made one video like you can't be healthy at every size because of fucking gravity. You know, like I get sick of having the same arguments with people. I really do. Like that's the thing I think is mind-numbing. I think they're trying to beat us into submission by just reiterating it over and over and over again. And then it's always I always get the fucking shit like, well, you don't understand. Like I almost did. Like I fucking just came from the gym. And I didn't want to wear a tank. I don't wear tank tops and shit like that anymore. I don't post pictures of me anymore, because it's just you're just a musclehead and you don't know what the fuck you're talking. Like it's this shit. Like the camera angle right now is still high, you know, because if I take pictures of me dead on, I don't look like I should be talking about losing weight. I should be talking about powerlifting, and that's not me tooting my horn. That's actually just how I'm fucking built, you know. It's the ridiculous shit we have to deal with just to get something so basic of just try to be healthy across. It's so fucking sad.
Well, those old studies we've discussed before, how these movements really kind of popped up in 2017. Really, like it got a lot of movement. I mean, I don't remember in 16, maybe 18 was really it kind of ramped up until now. So a study that's 10 years old, studies give way to more studies. People think that you have a study that's not causation. That's not an answer. That's this hypothesis was either proven, kind of proven, or kind of shown, or not. This is going to lead towards doing a study with these parameters to see if that's the same or if that's different. Like one study will lead to 1,000 other ones. Okay, now it's a fact. Like you don't do 3 studies. Wow, that's what happens then. No, you have to do it a lot more with a bigger sample size or a longer period of time or different races or different diets. That's why these nutrition studies, there's always a flaw, and you can't ignore the flaw. There's no fact, because there's a billion variables in any one person's life that can throw that off. And I don't care how many people can throw how many studies, it's still not a certainty. What we do know is that trying to drag 300 pounds of extra bricks around on your back every fucking day, probably not a good look for your body. Probably not a good way to function. Again, you don't see old people that are massively obese because they don't make it that far.
You know, that's the when we're talking about the studies too. If you look at it in the last 10 years, like if the study's not from the last 10 years about obesity, I don't want to fucking talk about it for multiple reasons. One, the obesity rate in the last 10 years has just exploded. It's just fucking, I mean, it's like when I grew up, there was like the fat kid, you know, in high school, like 1 or 2 fat kids in high school, you know, and I mean, I'm substantially older than both you, but like, that's true. Like, and it was the kid that, you know, literally had like hypothyroidism, or the girl that had PCOS really, really bad, who had other issues like ovarian cysts and stuff. Like, I mean, like really, really, really medical issues, you know, it's shit like that. Now it is just very commonplace, which is why we need to get ahead of it for the future generations. We just need to get ahead of this. You know, I want to be taken care of when I'm fucking 80 years old, motherfuckers. We need the next generation to actually outlive me, so I can fucking have you guys take care of my ass. You know, like, I mean, really, it's very selfish. But with the food's different too. Our food is completely fucking different.
What is it? Yeah. What's made it jump? Not just the food, because people are going to point towards like the rise of soybean and polyunsaturated fats and all those vegetable
oils.
Of
fast food.
I mean, that was in like the 60s, 70s. I mean, it's ramped up, but I mean, it's been exponential in the recent years. I'm just saying, like, it's been going up, and all of a sudden it must be social media. It must be just the ability for information and for culture to spread. I mean, 10 years is plenty of time for new restaurants and new shipments, and Amazon like really took off in the last, 5-10 years. So it's, I
like
mean,
to
Netflix,
think of,
maybe Netflix, that your people are sitting around their fucking asses watching Netflix and binge watching.
It's convenience. It's convenience. Yeah. Convenience has gotten
Just
so much more
ever.
popular. Like I like to think of the movie WALL-E, like the people that were just in the chairs. Like that's what we're going towards, and that's what we're gonna look like. And no one, like, imagine if WALL-E came out right now. Oh my gosh.
People would rage.
It would be crazy.
They'd lose their
they
shit.
would freak out. But I wanted to, so that review that we were talking about, I sent it to a couple of my friends that are much smarter than I am. One of them, Sciat Fitness, and the other guy is Dr. Nadolski. He's actually an obesity doctor, right?
Yeah.
And so I just had, it was like, hey, because I was getting like those troll accounts and like everyone was sending me like, oh, can you debunk this? And I was just like, I don't know. I'm not a professional study reader, right? So I was like, I read through it, but I was like, I know I'm not going to get everything out of this that I could. So I sent to them, I was like, hey, I would just love to hear your opinion on this. Pretty much the only thing that Dr. Nadolski said, he was like, LOL, this isn't even a study, it's a review. So he was just like, it's not even what like these people are saying that it is.
Yeah.
It's a blog.
But the other thing and then Jordan, or Sciat Fitness, who's awesome. I really like him a lot. He was on the podcast once. Really good podcast, but he showed me what I think was the biggest like thing about it was the writers of that review. So it wasn't a study; it was them reviewing other studies.
Right.
Are basically like the creators of Health at Every Size. So it's like it would be like, you guys know I like CrossFit, right? So it would be like me citing a study that says CrossFit's the best form of exercise. Also, this was sponsored by CrossFit. Like it's just. You cannot take it that seriously, and I think that's really, really important. And the thing with me with Health at Every Size is that the way that they go about maybe helping people lose weight, I would almost agree with most of it, because most of it is about improving your relationship with food, not doing crash diets, not only focusing on the scale. Like I would agree with most of those things. Again, it's just when we sit there and say, but you can be healthy at any size, it's like, come on, man. So I truly do, to an extent, agree with what a lot of like the practitioners of Health at Every Size say, but it's just the thought of saying you can be healthy at 350 pounds. It's like you can't.
Well, I've had that before too, where all of a sudden like somebody will jump in the comments section and be like, "Well, you guys have what Healthy at Every Size means wrong."
Yeah,
I don't have it wrong. The people that are most vocal about it have it wrong. You talk to those motherfuckers, because while they're the ones that are spreading your message wrong. So you talk to them. Don't fucking come at me saying I'm wrong, because I'm going by the most popular people of you, the most outspoken voices that are saying Healthy at Every Size. I'm talking about those motherfuckers. If you don't like how they're representing you, that's on you. I mean, that would literally be like, I have this thing. We have a decent sized secret. Now it's secret now, but it's a closed Facebook group. I put it on secret because I don't want any more people in it, because it just got to be fucking. It was like 15,000 people, and it was just unmanageable. And one of the reasons why we fucking closed it down, we're culling people out of it fucking constantly, right? Just because if you're not going to be active in it, we don't want you. If you're not this, we don't want you, because one, it takes time and focus, but two, somebody can say you post something fucking disgusting in there, take a screenshot, and then it looks like I'm fucking saying it. So then I'd have to answer for that person, because I get it all the time. Like, well, this person that you're friends with says this. I don't fucking own them. Like, I don't fucking, I'm very clear about like what I believe in, and I'm on record, like on video with everything I fucking say. That's why I believe another thing too, like anonymity. If you want to be taken seriously, if you're in the fat acceptance community, I'm going to say this just one more time. I will treat you with respect. I will even not swear. I promise. I will even not swear. But I would love to have a conversation with you live. Me and you, your face, your name, your voice, live. I will have a respectful conversation with you about the merits of what you think. But I want to have one of those people come across and say that they really feel they can be healthy at 350 pounds and up. I would love to have that discussion. They won't, though, because they're, the anonymity allows them to say shit that they know is not fucking true. I don't believe one of that. I believe they hope it's true. I believe they do. I believe they hope it's true. I don't think they actually fucking believe it. It's like the fucking people that believe like you can put on like 30 pounds of lean mass in like 11 weeks. They hope that shit's true. They don't fucking believe it. I can drink a gallon of milk a day and I'll put on 30 some pounds of lean mass. That's fucking stupid. It's it goes against common sense. Even a teenager got to be like, well, there's got to be something wrong with that.
But even with technology, we have so much access to science and information. So there's too much information. What I kind of fear is that you have this demonization and this kind of like, oh, it's just a study. Like, because I said that too. It's okay, just one study or it's two studies or any, like John, it could be biased. It could be completely rigged. It could be completely leaving out variables, the sample size, the inter-rater reliability, like the repeatability of the study and all the variables and how it's reported and all those aspects that are important for a study. Like, I don't want to discount science. That's why we're here today with technologies, because of fucking science. So it's not to say that science is wrong, but science needs to be unbiased. And even sometimes when you have someone who's like part of that, it might seem biased, like they're working for the same company. It doesn't mean that it was carried out in a biased way, but it does provide this kind of cloud of doubt and uncertainty in which more research is needed. And technology has literally, even just electricity, what, fucking like 100 years, 120 years, whenever the first fucking light bulb. So that's 100 years. Let's just say 100 years, maybe let's say 120. So a little bit longer than one human, like really old age life. Okay. Like 80, maybe plus 2 generations. So, and science hasn't really been around to be able to log data accurately. So you want a longitudinal study. We haven't even had science. We have had science, but technology and science and studies and this kind of like organization of the standards for more than 60, 70 years. Like we've only had one life to even like, oh, we should do a longitudinal. So people think we have all this information. We need to wait another 100 years for these studies to fucking actually come out if they're even being done with the population and the variables. So it's complicated, but that's something that you said earlier, John, where you notice yourself being overweight because you're gradually gaining that weight. You don't have that perspective until all of a sudden now you're like, wow, 200 pounds down. And then you look back, if you jump back into that body, you wouldn't be able to fucking move. You'd be out of control. But that slow burn, like you put a frog in a pot and you slowly boil it, it's going to stay in there. But if you put it in a boiling pot of water right away, it's going to jump the fuck right back out, or it's not going to stand for that.
Grim example. Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, it's Florida. I'm bored. Like, what else am I going to do with my time? I got to play with frogs.
When we come to Florida, I'll cook, motherfucker. So.
All right. That's a delicacy where I come from. Protein, man.
Oh, dude, I like frog legs.
There's lizards everywhere.
I've never had them before.
There's lizards. They're free. They're everywhere. They're invasive species. Iguanas. Like, save our bridges. Eat iguanas. Yeah. So anyway, that slow burn. So people don't realize all of a sudden, like the fast food, but it's ramped up and everything in obesity. It just creeps up because pre-obesity, pre-diabetic, overweight, having a little bit, I have a little bit of a dad bod. Oh, I'm getting old. I got a little pooch in my stomach, and that pooch becomes 5, 10 pounds. People have no concept, and I know you all get this a lot. Hey, I want to lose 100 pounds. And you look at me, you don't have 100 pounds to lose. People have no concept of what weight is. They pick a nice round number, 25 pounds, 50 pounds. I want to lose 75 pounds. No one's like, I want to lose 62.7 pounds. Maybe that's their optimal number. They have no idea. They just see someone and you look at them, well, you're going to put on some muscle, lose some weight. Maybe you'll lose 50, 60. Like there's no way you'll be healthy in what you want, but they want to see the lower number in the scale. I've had that for so many clients. You have a woman who, I say, if you weighed 145 and you looked exactly the way you want, would you be happy? And they're like, they want to see a lower number. They're so programmed to see a digit. I'm like, but it's body composition. Like you just can't. It's hard to like flash educate people because they're so fucking programmed to follow numbers and to see less is better or more is better. And then there's no in between, and just the education. It's the knowledge, the education. It's the slow slide into the situation where we wake up like dazed and, oh my God, what happened? Where are we? We're fucking dying. That's what we're doing.
Well, people get their information from like the Kardashians and shit like that.
They get their
fitness, like, Khloe Kardashian has a fucking show on TV called Revenge Body. Have you guys know that?
Yeah, someone mentioned that. I haven't looked into it though. I can.
Okay, as a newsflash, everybody look close into the camera. If you have a breakup, not you. If you have a breakup, and then you go to get in shape to get back at the person that broke up with you,
make it last.
That is so fucking stupid. Because what happens when they go? I mean, what happens if it was just your personality that didn't clash? Like that's the thing. Like what you need to be healthy for you. Like if you have 100 pounds to lose, don't do it to fucking get back at somebody. There's no revenge body shit. Love you. If that person's not gonna love you, you love you.
It's like having money. Money is like, okay, so now you have money. The person doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, all of a sudden you got a new job or something like that. Like the concept of the show is just this, like, that's the problem. There's so much based on aesthetics. In my video today, I mentioned this. Teen Vogue, first of all, is a horrible, horrible entity. Vogue and Cosmopolitan are horrible entities to begin with, because they place so much emphasis on the physical appearance of women that it is really detrimental to women. Guys are brought up being, we're taught to be strong, we're taught to be aggressive, we're taught to be go-getters, we're taught to be this. Like, it's much less about our physical appearance, although that does matter sometimes, but it's much less about our physical appearance, and it's more about our mannerisms, our actions, what a real man acts like, what this, that, blah, blah, blah.
Gillette.
There's like what, yeah, that's right. But there's what men act like, and then there's what ladies act like. You know what I mean? Like, a lady, like, we got to get past that shit. We really, really do. Teen Vogue and, Vogue magazine, even Cosmopolitan, talk to women as if their value is what they look like. The problem with that is when everybody's obese, that's how the fat acceptance movement gets born, because it places way too much emphasis on aesthetics. Like I said it today, Vogue and Cosmopolitan, they should be teaching young women how to, like, financially plan, how to educate themselves, how to get scholarships, how to fucking, here's some good study habits. Here's this. And occasionally, if you like this makeup, great. Occasionally, if you like this dress, great. But, make sure to be healthy. They should be teaching these people, like, what, like, have an article like, here's why, this woman's doing well, because she takes care of A, B, C, D. Like, real women that knock it the fuck out of the park, that aren't jokes. If you look at, like, real moguls, real women that like CEOs and shit like that, they eat right, they have personal trainers, they take care of themselves, they make sure they get proper sleep, they do all these fucking things that really successful people do. It's not a male-female thing. But that's not taught by these magazines. That's why I think that those magazines are one of the things that hold women back. I really do. Like, they teach
Always
women.
Have.
They teach women
to be like housewives and be in the kitchen,
Yeah.
and then they change to
teach
beauty,
women
and now
to
they
be-
change to this. Like you said, they don't do health; they just adjust to the times. They pander to whatever trends in the audience. They're killing themselves. They're bleeding themselves out.
And right now, the trend is fat acceptance. The trend is being fat is okay. When I read it, I thought it was a fucking joke. Somebody sent me the screenshot. I thought it was a fucking joke. The F word is to celebrate being fat. It actually says celebrate. I was like, are you fucking kidding? Like, Tess had been kind of silent on her social media for a little bit. I was like, maybe it's because she's starting to realize she needs to get healthy or something like that.
You thought that. You thought, like, oh, I think she's
I
embarrassed.
I think I mentioned on our last podcast. I thought maybe she had, like, some sort of health issue. No, she was regrouping, motherfuckers.
Rip the truth. Did you see that article? Remember the whole, I was making a stab at Gillette with the whole toxic masculinity. Remember that? Did you see that article about how they lost $8 billion? $8 billion from their whole, like, anti-masculine campaign. They're going back to, like, their roots. I wonder why. Yeah. The money they $8 billion. That's a B, by the way. $8 billion from $8 billion, because everyone was like, "Fuck this company, I'm going to Schick or whatever the fuck." Or I don't shave, so I don't even know what people use.
Can't relate, dude. I have to shave every day.
No idea. I don't even know I haven't seen a razor.
My beard grows so fucking fast, and I fucking can't stand it.
Mine doesn't grow fast. It's like little spots, and if I don't shave, it looks really bad.
Mine grows, like, from my eyeballs down. Like, I mean, I could grow a beard all the way to fucking here if I wanted to.
I get those random hairs. Like, I'll do a video. I'm like, ooh, HD is really. I don't want to go. I don't want to go 4. I don't want to go 4K. You're gonna see, like, one of, like, my fucking upper cheek hairs. Like, oh shoot, how that 2-inch hair missed the trim.
Right. It's like crazy too.
The other video I made, I had, like, a hairline sticking out.
Nice. I think what Alan was saying about the women in those magazines is spot on. Like, it explains a lot, like, why there are so many more women in the movement than there are men. I think it's fighting against those ideas that we were taught when we were younger, whatever that might be. For a lot of women, it was, you need to look like this, you need to do this, you can't have this, you need to be this. And it's like, okay, let's fight that. What's interesting to me is that in the same magazine, I wouldn't be surprised. I obviously I haven't seen the magazine, but the magazine that Tess Holliday is in doing the interviews and stuff, I would not be surprised if in that same magazine there was things that the fat acceptance community would be so upset about, and like, so, like, just be like, that is a terrible thing, that, like, that's promoting weight loss, that's promoting this. So it's interesting that they've accepted being part of this entity that maybe they are against, but it's because it's going to like shout out their message more, you know?
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Either you're not extreme enough or you're right. John, they got to come up with you're an X fat because now you can't talk about it because now you're no longer fat. Okay. Well, you're not fat enough. You're not infinifat. So you can't, or, you know, you can't talk about that. And then, oh, you're skinny. Now you have thin privilege. It's like, well,
the thin privilege thing. What the fuck?
I don't know.
Holy fuck, man! That flew all over me.
I'm
like,
white.
No,
I'm in shape.
Fat,
I have like I don't even know. I tick off all the boxes.
There's fat consequences.
Yeah.
I mean, they're for real. I mean, like the shit. Like I can't fit on. I just want to be able to fit on an airplane. How many seats do you think are going to fit on a fucking airplane? Like, yeah. I mean, like this crazy shit. Like, I don't fit in an airplane seat well. The people next to me, like, no matter what, the people next to me fucking hate me. My shoulders spill the fuck over.
Even me too. Like,
yeah. I'm always like, I try to like fucking get in there, you know. But this whole like society's being so hard on you and this and that. Like, stop it. Just fucking stop. If you don't like it, fucking change. Look at yourself and why you don't fit, and maybe understand like it might be for a fucking health reason or something like that, you know. I'm not talking like what happens when people are really, really, really tall? Should we change? You know, should we change airplanes for them? Like I have a few friends who are like 6'6", 6'7". Like my friend Jeff McCool, he's lost almost 100 pounds now. He's fucking doing great. But he was like 405 and he's like 6'6", right? Like he fills a fucking doorway, you know?
He's ducking to get under and shit like that.
Oh yeah, like and his brother-in-law is the Undertaker, who's like not even like the same species as I am. He's that big, you know? So imagine being those motherfuckers and having to travel and shit like that. You know, I mean, crazy shit, you know? But it's just they don't bitch. You don't hear them bitching about society and shit like that. You know? When so much look like, don't get me wrong, I like, you know, being in shape. I like the look it gives me when I'm in shape. You know, like I personally like it. But I am very, very realistic with the fact that I'm going to be old at some point in time. And I remember when I first met my son, he was remarking about like, you know, how big and strong I was, right? And I told him, I was like, you know, I'm not going to say, but I'm not going to say his name. But I said, the best thing I've ever built is my mind. That is the best thing I've ever built is my mind. And women that don't see that, what's going to happen to you when you're 70? Like, are you going to be okay with yourself then? Or are you just going to like, you know, because when I'm 70, my life's going to be awesome. I'm still going to go out dancing. I'm still going to fucking, I'm still going to, you know, hang out with the wife. I'm going to go to the beach all the fucking time. I'm going to know that I'm good. I'm still going to be healthy, you know, shit like that. I'm going to be happy. If you place all your emphasis on aesthetics, you're not going to be happy as what is a very temporary situation of aesthetics fades away from you, you know? That's just true, you know. I mean, it's not going to be a good thing. It's not sustainable, you know.
It is hard. And I find it's hard for myself. I don't know if you have felt the same way, Alan. Like to not, because I kind of got into fitness with that whole bodybuilding. I never competed, but it was all about, you know, I did strength training with proportion. So it was always kind of just like a casual, it's still a hobby in that sense, like, you know, to have the proportions and things like that. I do it for just how I feel mostly, but it is a big shift to not do it for the looks. You're always looking in the mirror. It seems like a very vain activity when you're looking for form, you're looking for symmetry and stuff like that. But at the same time, that doesn't promote health. If you have even shoulder size, that's not going to mean you live longer or live less. That doesn't mean that. But it is a different shift, and I'm kind of still coming to grips with it because you have to be careful having your identity attached to your aesthetics. So again, the fat acceptance, your identity is fat. So when someone comes after obesity as a real issue, you take it as a personal attack. That's my identity. That's who I am. I'm obese Jane, and I am healthy at every size. I'm a very strong woman. I'm powerful. Then you're attacking me personally. So when it comes to the way I look or the way I feel, to shift from training and, okay, you're not going to have all this muscle forever. And it comes down to what you want to do and how you feel. And if you go by how you feel, it's a practice. Life is a practice. You get better at owning that. You get better at accepting different things in terms of where you're at in terms of self-awareness. But you have to practice nutrition. You have to practice learning yourself and this whole transition, because it's very easy to be like, no, I've always lifted heavy, and you don't stop. And then eventually you break yourself when you're 60 from trying to deadlift what you did when you were 35. and then you're fucking crippling yourself. And that's not what health is actually about, and being fit. It's not about breaking yourself. It's about transitioning as you get older. Like, I'm doing more mobility now before I have a problem. I have to. Otherwise, I'm going to be deadlifting when I'm 50 and breaking myself.
Yeah, the last 2 years have been so. I've discovered so much about myself in the last 2 years. I think, like, because I was very big and very strong. You know, I mean, much bigger than I am now, and very strong. Probably about probably about 210, 215 right now. And I was very big. Like, I was 265. I was about 50 pounds bigger than what I am right now. And I mean, I could, like, shit felt like I'd pick up like 100-pound dumbbell for military press, and I'd be like, fuck this. I mean, I'm going to crank out sets of 10 of this shit, and that feels much heavier now. But I just did not feel good. So lost all the weight, and then I got down to like 180 pounds and really didn't feel good either. Like, I mean, and don't get me wrong, like, I didn't mind necessarily how I looked when I was big, because I was a fucking tank. You know what I mean? Like, so while I had some extra body fat, and I had a lot of extra body fat, I was a fucking tank, for real. Like, I mean, and I could still do shit like professional wrestler shit. Like, that's how, like, people would often think I was, I remember I took my son to Raw in Pittsburgh, and people were asking me if I was a wrestler for their farm league, their NXT league. I'm like, no, but thank you so much.
Should have lied and said yeah.
I was like, no, but thank you.
Made up a name.
But yeah, seriously. Agent 47. But and then when I got really lean, I thought I looked pretty good, except for like my face and shit like that. I couldn't stand how my face looked. But it was horrible. I fucking felt horrible, So now I'm like at this happy medium where I'll float between like 195 and 215, somewhere in that area, depending on the time of year and everything like that. Like, what my goals are. Like, right now, I wanted to make sure that like like my joints felt good, everything like that, before I like did like a little bit of, because I'm getting ready to move to Florida. So the summer wasn't that important to me. I'm going to actually be a little leaner once I get to Florida, like once I move there, I just think it's been very telling. Like, to me, giving up different concepts of it is pretty interesting. I found like a kind of a nice lean, or a nice like medium between it, and that's through self-discovery, I think. I don't lift heavy anymore. I couldn't tell you what my maxes are. I absolutely couldn't, and oftentimes I don't, like, I work out with my wife, so if she has a weight on the bar, I'll just do it like for a bunch of reps instead, just for the efficiency, just to get a good workout in. Like, today we were doing close grip bench, and I think we were doing with like 95 pounds. I just did close grip real slow, real intense, good squeeze up the top for lots of reps, and I couldn't tell you what my maxes are, and I got to be honest, I don't miss squatting heavy as much as I thought I would. I do, but as I really, because I identified as that person. Like, I really did. Like, that's who I was. And once I realized I had to give that up, I had to like rediscover myself. And I think that's where a lot of these people identify that way too. My wife was talking to me about that yesterday too, where that's how you used to identify yourself. So for a lot of these people, they have to give up their identity of who they actually are. And then a problem we have found when we are coaching people is that then they all of a sudden become the person that loses weight. They identify as that person. Our goal, our job as their food addiction coaches and as their coaches is to make sure that they're prepared to be who they are when they're at a healthy weight and stay there. That's the actual true key, and that's to avoid yo-yo dieting and everything like that, because that is horrible for you. Like, the fat acceptance community is right about that. But the problem is, just because you have 95% of, they say 95% of diets fail, a couple things. One, why would you not take a 5% chance on your health? I would. Like, if the doctor came to me right now, hey, you're going to die here within the next 5 or 10 years, we have this treatment, it only works 5% of the time, I'd be like, how many times can I take the treatment? Because if it fails the first time, that's 5%. If it fails the second time, I have a better chance. I'd take it bunches of fucking times. I'd try until I fucking lived, And that's why the argument's just weak, Discover who you are. Like, value yourself more than your aesthetics is a huge thing for people. We just live in such an Instagram world where that's tough.
Agreed. I want John to jump in on this, and you can touch upon that if you have anything to add, John. Because I want Alan's opinion, but let's go to John first about making YouTube videos, because I feel exactly the same way Alan, and you've been doing it longer, John. So it's an important context that for me, making like just YouTube content and doing this in the past, because Alan said 2 years, literally the same time frame. Once you kind of get that flow, because you're voicing your opinion so much, you're going through your thoughts. So every time I make a video, it's like I'm much more organized with how I feel about different things and my awareness, because when you're making videos, you kind of like categorize it. You're not jumbled up in your head, because you're able to get, and that's why I guess, videos and content gets better and better. How would you feel that making YouTube videos, specifically just making content, has helped you develop as a person? Do you agree with that feeling, or do you have any other experience about that? Because I think that time period is dead on for me as well, 2-3 years. And it's because since I started doing this, it's just helped me like be a little more introspective with how I personally think and why.
Yeah, with like making videos, it's a really cool thing to like voice your opinion, because then when you like, because I'll like try and write a little bit of notes out for what I'm going to say, just so I make sure that I hit certain points that I know I thought of in my head. And so it's nice to be able to like get those opinions out and really realize like what you believe. Because I think a lot of people, I think you never like, maybe even if you're not journaling, but like for us, right, YouTube videos is like, for me, it's like my journal. So I'm able to get that opinion out there and try and make sure, well, the hardest part is try and make sure I'm able to share my opinion in as little words as possible. Because if I'm sitting there rambling, nobody wants to watch that. I wouldn't want to watch that, right? So getting those opinions out there in as little words as possible is like super, super helpful for me. And I think that since like the constant shift from, making more commentary based stuff and like reacting to other things and sharing how I feel about that stuff, it's made me really think before I make the video, before I put it out there, I'm like, do I really feel this way? Is this really how I feel? Or am I just saying this because I want to get a video out there? Because chances are this can go out to, 100,000 people can see this and they're going to be like, that's how he feels. So it's important that I really feel what I'm saying, That's one of the things that's really important to me. But I did want to talk about, so like what Alan was saying, and I think it's unbelievably important, is finding that balance when you do lose the weight. Because one thing that, again, there's so many things that I really do agree with the fat acceptance health at every size movement, is that like having a goal weight is not, I even have a video where I'm like, it's not a good idea. It's especially if you are 300-400 pounds saying I want to be 180 pounds, you have no idea
right
what your body composition is being. You might have a lot of muscle, and getting down to 180 pounds is going to be unbelievably hard, and you're going to have to make some serious sacrifices that are in the long term going to hurt your health anyways. Like when I've used the example before, but when I was at my leanest for my show, I was 180 pounds. I weigh about 205 right now, and that's kind of where I sit. 205, 210, to 200 to 210. So that's like 10 pound. And if I tried to get down to 180 right now, oh my gosh, the detriments I really think to my health and then to my fitness as well. Like it's really, really, really important to get to a point where you're no longer feeling like you're dieting. You're no longer feeling like you have to put in so much work to maintain this level of health or level of fitness that you have. For me, what I do every day, like before we did this podcast, I went on a 6K, 6 mile run or 10K run, right? And like, it wasn't like, oh, I have to do this because like I just need to maintain. It was like, that's what I want to do today. It sounds like a good idea. I ended up PRing. I was very happy. I was like, sweet, but it's like those things have just become life. And I don't do it because it's like, all right, so if I run 6 miles, I'm going to burn this many calories, and then I'll be able to eat this many. Like, if that was what I was going through my head constantly, I would be wrecked, because that's all I would be thinking about. And so I think it's very, very important to not feel like you have to stick to this arbitrary number. And, like, that's why the scale, so many, like, fat acceptance, health at every size, like, the scale's terrible, throw away the scale, break the scale. It's like, okay, chill out for a second. The scale can be detrimental to some people. 100%. It can. You can absolutely end up focusing on it way too much. But it is also a great tool for some people too. So it's going to be, you decide what's good and what's not good for you. I think the scale is incredibly useful, but it's just in the context of, okay, the scale isn't my like the God in the sky that's going to give me all the answers. It's like, no, it's just a tool that you have in your toolbox. Like the mirror always works. You could do like how you feel. You could do like what we're talking about. How are you performing in whatever it is that you enjoy, whether that's walking or CrossFit or running or doing regular bodybuilding stuff. Like, how is that going? How do you feel when you wake up in the morning, right? Like there's so many other ways to track your progress.
It's one dimension. It's one dimension.
Exactly.
It's like looking in one dimension. You're, I've said this for like so many years with clients and just on every like kind of verbiage. If you put a bucket of water and a baby on a scale, it's going to say 8 pounds. It doesn't tell you what it is. Doesn't tell you anything about it. Doesn't tell you what's the mental state. Doesn't say about the inflammation or the pain or the migraines and all the different subtleties that make you a person and what makes fitness and being healthy. Like, what does it mean to you? And you can go both ways, which is the issue. You can go with a couple different ways, but you can't make it a subjective thing entirely. Right. There's going to be the psychological aspect is subjective, so that's where it gets a little bit iffy, and that's where it gets iffy with these other social issues like gender and stuff like that. It's very, very subjective. So how you feel can't be debated, but it needs to be addressed. All the aspects of you, what's healthy and what's good. What's your schedule when someone messages you, myself? How many days a week should I be working out? That fucking depends. How many? What's the best exercise for this? There is no such thing. Like, what are you trying to accomplish? What's the best food? What should I be eating after? What do you like? I'm not going to tell you to eat peanut butter if you're going to die from eating peanut butter. It just, there's so many, and that's where being a fitness professional or don't like to use the word guru or expert all the time, but relative to the average person, we're all fitness experts to a degree because of experience, education to an extent, depending on the person, and then experience. So you have the ability to talk from perspective and experience, which is what education is. It's experience from reading things and then applying it, which is equally, if not more important. So it's all relative, but we have to make that distinction that the psychological and the subjective is important. However, it doesn't trump the reality, and that's the obese and the facts over feelings issue. Alan, you're going to say something about it, or you're going to follow up on that?
Well, I actually had a problem with the scale at one point in time. Like not when I was big either though, but when I had first announced I was going to lose weight, like I did it on social media. Like I said, I'm going to weigh between X amount of pounds, and it's a mistake I made. But I said, I'm going to weigh X amount of pounds in X amount of time. It was like 4 months. I was going to lose like 50 some pounds, right? And which is hauling ass, But at the time, I was, for the first couple clicks, I was losing 4 pounds a week, 4.5 pounds a week, boom, 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 because I was doing my volume training program, which burns a shit ton of calories, but I weighed 260 pounds. So I went down to 2,000 calories. I worked out once or twice a day, every day, and fucking weight just flew off, But towards the very end, it slows the fuck down a lot, And I was freaking about it, like, because I fucking, I still use it occasionally, but I have a hashtag said I would, because if I say I'm going to do something, it's going to get done because said I would,
Social accountability, that's huge, man.
Yeah, and I was fucking freaking about it, like weighing myself a couple times a day, finding myself dehydrating myself and shit like that, like really bad fucking things that I was fucking personally doing, right? And Crystal took the fucking scale and hit it one day. She was like, "I'll let you weigh in once every 2 days." She was like, and then I'm taking it, and fucking that's what she did. So, because it was going to be unhealthy. And the reason why it's unhealthy when people talk about smashing the scale, I didn't like the number I was seeing. So that's how it's not a good number, because I didn't like it for a different reason. I didn't like it because it wasn't as low as I had promised by that time. I luckily got there. Like I actually just, once I was able to relax about it a little bit and take it away, I think my cortisol levels changed a little bit, and I was just fucking able to fucking get there, a couple days early, as a matter of fact. But the people that talk about smash your scale, it's just a number. If there's nothing wrong with that number, if you believe that you can be healthy at every size, there's nothing wrong with that number. It's actually a good physical indicator. And for a morbidly obese person, and I got to tell you this, first of all, if you need to buy a special scale start about 400 pounds and up, right? If if a normal scale normally goes up to like 350, 400 pounds. If you have to buy a special scale and you're not extremely tall, like inordinately tall or something like that, that's just a sign for you to have to do something right there anyway, okay? But if you're obese, you should step on a scale occasionally, because you need to know, like everybody should. Everybody should step on a scale occasionally, if you don't, especially if you don't go to the doctor every couple months. Because if you all of a sudden drop 30 pounds and you don't know why, and you haven't changed anything about your nutrition or your activity level hasn't changed or anything like that, there could be a serious medical issue going on. Like, I mean, like you could have, it could be the onset of leukemia. It could be, I mean, there's so many things that could be happening to you that it's important to know. Conversely, if all of a sudden you gain 30 pounds and don't realize it and nothing else has changed, you could have a tumor on your thyroid. There's so many like medical issues that could be going on. We don't need to treat our bodies like it's the enemy. We need to understand our bodies. You need to understand what's going on in it. When you just want to give a fuck about what you look like, that doesn't tell the story of what's going on inside. It's the bodybuilding thing, man. Like, I all the time I give people credit for going on stage, because it takes, to be able to torture yourself like that, it takes a certain someone, because that's what it is. It's like self-inflicted torture. Mm-hmm. I mean, it really fucking is. Like, these people torture themselves. Like, I mean, when you're a full-grown guy and you go on fucking 1,200 calories a day, and you're doing an hour's worth of cardio and lifting weights and shit like that, like, I don't know how the fuck they do it. I mean,
well, you can't tell your doctor now. You can't tell your doctor you're fat, right? Your doctor can't talk about your weight, Alan, when you're going. We were talking about that the other day, bro.
Yeah, that's really, really, really bad. I mean, now we got people that aren't medical professionals telling other people to not listen to their doctor. That's really bad. Yep. I mean, like, that to me, like, I don't know how that's legal. Like, I mean, a lot of the shit that they do, I don't know how it's legal, because I have a certification in food addiction coaching, and I still will be the first one. Are you going to a counselor in person? Like, I mean, because I want to know. Like, I can help coach you through some of your bad food behaviors.
It's that gray area, man. That's
right?
That's the problem. That's what we're talking about with like licensing or the ability to talk about nutrition, because you're a personal trainer. You can just fucking say, oh, here's a diet plan. Yo, that's a serious, it's like actually doing physical training. You're spotting someone that has maybe 100 pounds over their face, and if they drop it, they could die. So, I mean, there's a lot of liability. I think it's like liability and who would be, I think there was a case about a personal trainer or something that recommended this woman take fat burners, and I think he was held liable because she took them. She had like a heart complication, she died or something like that, in terms of like a supplement, and they found like it written down and stuff like in her bag about things to take. And so when I started training, I'm like, I'm not putting anything on paper, period. Like, I will say it verbally. I will recommend you to go to your medical professional, but I'm not putting anything like hard down, like, hey, take this. That's why I've always had a standoffish issue with, here's what you should be eating. It's sketchy shit, and it crosses a lot of boundaries. And when you have a lot of people voicing opinions and a lot of people that maybe seemingly have all their shit together, the reality is coming through. Going back to what we were talking about earlier about people putting out this type of content and how they're reaching a lot of people with just straight up posts or memes or short little clips or little these little things. I think that's where, like, with the tide, it seems like the tide is changing a little bit, or we're actually at like the crescendo where there's a lot of crumbling going on underneath. The foundation of these movements seem to be like very well exposed, at least by my, it's going to take time. But I think that's why these types of videos and these types of longer discussions, again, a reason why people don't come on or don't want to discuss it, because what are they going to talk about for this entire time? Are they going to talk about their feelings? Are they going to talk about things that don't exist when you go to the store and you just see tons of people that are obese? I said in my video today or yesterday about a woman that was obese in Target. I went there for a couple things. She was obese, her daughter was overweight, and she asked an employee right next to me. I thought she was talking to me for a second, but then this other guy just walked in front of me like, oh, she's talking to the employee. She couldn't lift one of those crates of waters, the 24 pack of like Poland Spring. She couldn't lift that into her cart, not into her car, not into her house, she couldn't lift it to put it in her cart. And it was stacked like arm height. Like, you grab it and you put it, like, you could have slid it into the fucking cart. It wasn't like it was on the ground. So she couldn't lift it. She wasn't strong enough. And the strength, the mobility, the ability just to be a human in society, we don't talk enough about this because there's so much like glaring bullshit, but it's the independence that's really everything. When you're that obese, you can't cook your own food. You can't get your own shit. You need someone's help. I don't want to have the ability. I'm fine if you go out to a meal and someone's serving you. Okay. But you want to be able to do the fucking task. So what's like the most important thing, aside from continuing to make content, doing podcasts and just doing what we're doing? What's the most important thing that someone can do? I have my thoughts on it, but I want to hear yours. We could start with John. What's the number one thing that someone listening to this, like, you know what? I still don't know where to start because there is a lot of information and people can get, paralysis from analysis. Like there's just too much. Like, who do I listen to? Do I listen do I listen to Alan? Do I listen to John? Do I listen to Papa Swole? Or all three of them? Do I listen to this person? There's a challenge here. There's this, but there's a local gym here with body boot camps and stuff. Like there's a lot of options or a lot of things, a lot of people saying shit. What's the number one thing that someone can do? Like literally actionable, not just, okay, like what is that one thing that someone could be like, all right, I'm going to implement this now and it will make a difference in that direction?
Just start something. Legit, again, it is very easy, paralysis by analysis, 100%. Just start something. Now, if someone wanted, again, I usually go to like someone that might be morbidly obese because, again, that's where I come from. My thing that whenever I'm helping someone lose weight, my first thing that I tell them to do is stop drinking your calories. It's that simple. Like, again, that's not going to change everything for you, but just that one thing. If you're morbidly obese, most likely you're drinking a lot of calories, whether that's soda or whatever it might be. Stop doing that. And then you'll see. And then from there, it's like, okay, find out how many steps are you taking in a day? How active is your job? If you don't want to start going to the gym, or like for me, when I first started, I couldn't afford a gym membership. So it's like, okay, how can I be more active throughout a day? So go on 10-minute walks or something like that. Like, there's no reason to feel like you need to go from 0 to 100, and I would argue that that's actually a bad thing to do anyways. So go from 0 to 5 and start there and do that for a little bit, and then go from 5 to 10, because I truly believe that when you see results, that will be a very motivating thing for a lot of people. A lot of people, they go from 0 to 100, and it's so hard. One thing that I absolutely regret when I was losing weight, this is what actually led me to having like a binge eating disorder. Sorry, I'm kind of ranting on this, but was I had this thought of, well, if I can do it for one day, I should be able to do it forever. And so like that was my mentality. Okay, I'm eating, X amount of calories, and at the time it was like very low. It was like 700 to 1,000. And I started doing that after I had lost a lot of the weight, but it was like, okay, if I can do that for one day, I can do it for a bunch. And then inevitably it would work for 4 days, and then I would binge really bad, So it's like, don't feel like you need to go from 0 to 100. Like, you don't need to do that, and I would recommend against that to most people, I guess would be what I would say.
Nice. Alan?
Yeah. I agree with everything John said. It's it sounds a lot like what we do with coaching too. But the biggest thing is that absolutely, first of all, get checked by your doctor, obviously. Like, you really do, and listen to them. Very honestly, listen to your doctor. After that, find the activity that you like to do, the one that you really do like, and then find all the vegetables you like. Yeah, for real, like, because some people don't like different ones, but like I can tell you, my refrigerator is like filled with salad, broccoli, carrots, sweet potatoes, regular potatoes to a certain degree. I don't do onions that much because they do have a higher sugar content. If I eat them in the morning, I do start craving. But shit like that, like eat whole foods, like eat whole foods. The less processed, the better. Like pasta is an addictive food. Pasta and bread are not great. Like people have problems with them. Most I can't tell you how many binge eaters we've had that have their binging thing is bread.
Yeah, or like
It's
crackers
crazy.
and stuff.
Bread and dairy.
That's what I would.
Yeah.
Crackers and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I know I will overeat bread too. Like if I still ate it, I know I would overeat it. So find the vegetables you like. I actually did a fucking thing one time where a guy was like, I'm disabled because I'm obese. I can't afford your coaching. So how the fuck are you going to help me? Like, well, you have a lot of time and you only have a finite amount of money. So your nutrition plan now is only lean meats and what you can get in the produce aisle. That's it. What you can buy in produce and lean meats. That's because like, well, I can't afford that much food that way. You're right. So therefore, you can't afford that much food. Like, so make it, find the most voluminous stuff you can and go with it. I did tell them about rice and blah, 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 but minimally processed, very, very little. And then stand up, like sit as little as possible. always have some sort of active muscle activation as much as possible. Like, and people don't understand that. Like, that's one of the reasons why I always talk about, like, even being 300 pounds and muscular and like 10% body fat is unhealthy for you too, because active tissue takes a greater load on your heart. Like, you actually have to pump oxygen to that shit while it's working. So your heart beats a little faster just by you standing up. Your heart will beat a little faster, especially if you're morbidly obese. Stand up as much as possible. If you have access to a pool and you like to swim, go fucking swimming. Do whatever you can do minimally to have as little impact on your joints as possible, because a death sentence to a morbidly obese person is a broken ankle. It could literally be a fucking, especially if the person has depressive binge eating disorder. If the person gets through depression, they eat or they binge and they can't move, it could cause a health spiral that kills them.
Yeah.
It just very, very honestly. That's why the statistic on lower leg amputations for diabetics that are obese, if you the death rate is like 50% after 2 years. Like, even if it's just like two toes, it's like they'll get 2 toes amputated and die 2 years later. Like 50% of them. It's because they literally, in the recovery period, takes longer because of the weight. So it takes them longer to recover, and they're depressed and they can't. And they end up having to have more shit happen, and they die. It's the statistics don't. Am I froze?
You did for a second. You're fine.
Okay. What the fuck?
That was a punchline.
But the statistics are just fact. Like, it really is. Like, I think. Starting slow, making sure you do the things you like to do and you eat the food you like to eat within reason it's a very good way. No drive-through. The drive-through is a thing of the fucking past for you. No drinking over your calories. That's a thing of the fucking past again. And realize that this, you need to set a new lifestyle. Stop. If you are 400 pounds, there's a high chance you have some sort of food addiction. Get some counseling. Yep. I beg of you, because people don't normally get to be 400 pounds without some sort of addiction to food. It's just fucking real, to me, we don't see things, in how they are. We want to ignore the facts about it. Like, diabetes is one of the things type 2 diabetes is not spoken of barely at all. And it is such a huge thing. The one guy that I think he reached out to all of us, in his video, he was talking about how he beat type 2 diabetes. I watched his video this morning. And if he didn't have insurance, it would have cost him $300 like every 5 fucking days. Mm-hmm. Imagine that shit. So you're talking about like close to $400 a fucking week. Yeah. $400 a fucking week. And the reality is just to live. And the reality is somebody pays for it. Like insurance pays for that. So if we keep having more and more and more people become diabetic, think about that. $200 to $400 a week per diabetic person. When we reach the point where we have 100 million people that are diabetic or 50 million people that are diabetic, think about that shit, people. Really fucking think about that. We're talking $1 trillion a year spent on diabetes. Completely, type 2 diabetes is fucking preventable.
Oh, you froze for a second again. Look at that kissy face. You see it? No, that's... There you go. There we go. That's the fucking shitty part about this whole fat acceptance. Like, the numbers show that shit is haywire. You're not fixing anything, and starting at Teen Vogue, starting with Kerbo, getting kids fucking jacked up about it at that young age. Great. That looks great for the next 50, 100 years. I feel the same exact way. I couldn't have put it any better myself. My main thing now is just like, look, if you cook your own food, make it. If it's not in your house, don't fucking eat it. And it covers everything that, Alan, you were saying. You just eat. If you're making your own food, don't eat anything. You can say don't eat anything with ingredients. Okay, there's gonna be some things that come in some type of a package. But if you're making food, don't buy anything that's already ready to go, essentially, except for like fruit, vegetables, the meats. Okay, it's not organic. Okay, it's not grass-fed. Okay, all right, there's certain things that maybe because of the volume, your family, that you literally can't afford. It's going to be light years better than going to get fast food. Light years and going to the gas station, sucking down all these protein powders and shit that these weight loss and low calorie. It's not the right. It's just not the right approach. If you're making shit fundamentally, because your time in the kitchen, you learn skills. Oh, but I need some more recipes. Chicken and rice is boring. Type it into Google, recipes with chicken and rice. It'll give you a billion. I fucking hate that fucking question. God, I'm just getting amped up right now. This caffeine's kicking in. No, the recipe shit, that pisses me off. What do you like? What the fuck do you like? You literally put in the foods and it'll give you, it's like a recipe. Google is designed for food recipes. I feel like that's the most optimal use of Google. Is you want to look up a recipe, type in the ingredients, and it will literally only give you recipes with those ingredients and videos. By the way, you want to see someone actually do it step by step. It's amazing. All the skills. Remember your grandmother's Joy of Cooking book, and it was a big old book. All you gotta do is literally voice it into your phone, and it'll spit it back. It's incredible. You have to take some freaking initiative. And that's that's where the mindset has to be. That's where you got to get that fucking mental kick. Hopefully you watch this video, you see John, you see myself, Alan. Just fucking, I spit on your lack of action. Fucking do it. Get up there. Save yourself.
Well, that's another thing too, like Teen Vogue. Teen Vogue, high school, like there's no home ec or anything. Like so many people don't even know how to cook nowadays. It's like
brutal.
An easy skill, people. Like it really is. It's an easy fucking skill. If you have no knife skills, you can actually buy like peppers and shit like that cut up for you, and onions cut up for you. Rather spend money on that than go to fucking Burger King. We had this one person where they did the math and like while paying for our service and not eating fast food, they saved $200 a month. Wow. Like that's fucking crazy. Like that means they're going to fast food every fucking day and spending an absorbent amount of money every fucking day. Like, and they're spending like at least $10 to $20 a day. Shit, he saved more than that money. But if you think about it, like when that's how a lot of people eat. That's how morbidly obese people eat. I mean, I don't know anybody that cooks their own food is morbidly obese. Nobody, none. It's always fast food, ice cream. Ice cream is the fucking devil, and I love it. But I mean, it's shit like that. If people don't want to have like personal responsibility anymore. Like I don't have any time. I know mine. I just got like a new phone. My phone will tell me how long I'm on shit. Like, hey, you've been on Instagram for 3 fucking hours today. Like it almost like chastises me. You know what I mean? Like, but
better than mine. Better than my times, I'm sure.
Oh my God! But I mean, but it's part of that's our business. I'm gonna work for 3 fucking hours. If you don't, like, here's my thing: if you don't make money on social media, you should use it very fucking sparingly. You really should. And I'm a social media, like, we make our money on social media, all of us. You should vary.
What was that 12 hours, 10 hours?
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Does it track like when it's in the background, or is it only when it's open on the screen? Like, I don't even know. But
well, shit.
I also don't have auto off. I leave my phone screen on because a lot of times I'm doing something, I look back and it's off. So if it's on, it's on the desk for like 20 minutes. It probably counts. But yeah, I don't know.
But still, I mean, it's important. Like, people do not like cook anymore. They don't spend time on themselves anymore. They, everything's so important. Like, shit. No, I mean, video games, fuck. I like playing. I play video games for like an hour a day, but it's like a mental reset. But I'll set a timer on that motherfucker because I have, like, on my day off, if Crystal's researching or taking a bath or whatever, doing whatever, I mean, it could be 2 fucking hours, and I'm like, holy shit, where the fuck that time go?
Dude, get on Twitch, bro. Get on Twitch. Start streaming, bro.
I got too much shit going on. We've talked about it. Like,
you're playing anyway, bro. Just rage on people.
Yeah, but
like fat acceptance warrior, just fucking like obliterating obesity.
Well, we've talked about it. I'm not saying it's never gonna happen in the future, but but right now, it got to the point where I just needed something for me a little bit. For sure. Like, because you guys, I'm sure, feel the same. Every bit of your life is like absorbed by what we do. Like, I mean, I work from basically 4 a.m. till like fucking 10 o'clock at night every night. And if I take an hour out for me, I want that hour to be completely for me. That's the only. I love my job, but that's the only thing. I don't mind working long hours either, but it's just like fucking relentless, And it's so up. Like, somebody posted an article. It's complete bullshit. I've got to do something about it. Like it's like all of a sudden, like the bat signal goes up. You know, I shouldn't say that because we're the Avengers, but you know, like a signal goes up, or you know, we have to assemble and shit like that, and fucking take care of shit. Like
you can rest now, Tony. You can rest.
Yeah.
You can rest.
What a fucking good movie.
That was such a good movie.
I just watched it. this is gonna piss a lot of people off. I just watched it for the first time the other day.
Me too.
Oh man.
Me too. Me too. Like in the last
at the time, I did not have time to go see it.
Yeah. Dude, last week I watched it for the first time.
I did not have time to go see it for a while.
Yeah.
Right when it came out was right when we were launching our coaches, so it was not happening. That was like 20-hour days for like 3 weeks in a row, and I was just like, I'll just wait till it comes out and fucking rent it, you know. And I know that like this, people are like, I can't believe you haven't watched it. I'm like, I'm busy, motherfuckers, you know.
Look, people now, like we'll start to wrap this up, but people now, like when you have kids, again, coming back to like full circle before we bounce off, it's the kids are gonna emulate their parents. Like you can tell them things, and look, this is coming from someone who doesn't have kids, but I see it. And I know that you end up emulating, right? You do everything. You don't want to be like maybe you want to be better. You don't want to be like your dad. You want to be like your mom. You don't want to be like so-and-so. But then you end up acting like them because you have their genetics and you copy their mannerisms without even realizing it. So when you're not taught how to cook, when you're not taught healthy eating habits, when you're not around the kitchen, when you don't know your way around it because of school, okay, they're not doing home ec in school. Not the school's fucking fault. The school system is jacked up. So is the government. So is big business. So is this, because everyone's out for money. That's why but at the same time, it's your fucking child. It's yours. It's not the government's child. It's your child for now. I mean, the way we are. But you have the control. You fucking authoritarian dictatorship. You fucking teach them. Teach them. If they want to grow up and then go eat that shit, well, at least you did the best you can. They're still going to be their own person, but at least you're going to enforce. But guess what? They fucking won't. They won't go and do that. They won't go and just be like loose cannon if you fucking teach them. Give them the skills. Give it to them.
You know, the thing about it is, like, I learned how to cook. Like, I grew up in an American Italian household. I knew how to bake bread by the time I was like 12.
Jeez,
like, actually make bread from from scratch, you know. And Crystal's a really good cook too. I remember my son cooking me pancakes for the first time when he was like 7, from scratch. You know, I think he's like the only one of his friends that knows how to cook. Like, I mean, knows how to cook. Like he'll have like people over his place because he doesn't live with us anymore. But he'll have people over his place and he does all the cooking for everybody. You know, it's fucking, you know, it's like a superpower. You know, like, you know, he did a thing with them because he's starting to get into the training side of it too. But he did a thing with his friends where like his grocery bill for like 2 weeks was like $100, and they added up what they did. Like they spent like 3 times the money he did because they don't know how to cook. You know, it's sad. You know, it really is. Like, it's, you know, something that like parents, and I agree with you. Like, I do say my parents had, like, we did still have home ec. Like, you know, my parents were the ones that taught me how to balance a checkbook and shit like that too, though. But, you know, parents nowadays don't, like, they let Instagram raise their kid. You know, like, and that's fucking sad. Like, I've got this fucking policy where, like, you know, we don't let anybody into my Facebook groups unless they're 18. Because like 13-year-olds are fucking. What are 13-year-olds doing watching YouTube right now? YouTube is like a vile fucking place. I mean, you can find the most wholesome. And there's somebody like, Alan, can you contact me when you get up? You can contact me, dude. So you can send me a message. Somebody just commented on the thing.
Yeah. Before you continue with that, let's let everyone know that I think I can speak for everyone on this podcast that we try to get back to as many messages as possible. But when you're getting like a lot of messages, it's just impossible to have an ongoing conversation. The way Instagram works, the way the DMs work, you lose messages. And if you're getting hundreds of messages, you have lots of requests, this, that, and the other, all of a sudden you're just like, you can answer. But I think the best way, I think that'd be something important, like before, as you know, when we sign off, to let everyone know like the best way, because DMs are cool, but you kind of get to them maybe a couple of weeks later, or maybe 3 days, or maybe the same day, but you're not going to be able to have that dialogue. Oh, you answered back. It's like, well, I'm not going to see that one because you have 50 or 30 or 1,000 more coming in already. And then it's not the best way to have an ongoing thing. So people might get insulted. Oh, you didn't answer my message. Yeah, well, I didn't answer your question. I remember I had someone I post question stickers all the time. Yo, you didn't get my question. Well, I see this now, and now I'm not going to fucking answer it. It's like, don't feel entitled to my time. It's like I'm trying to. You're trying to get
we prioritize shit. Like, I mean, we have, even though we have coaches, Crystal and I touch base with every client every day.
Yep.
I mean, and we're going to do that even when we have like hundreds.
Yeah.
You know,
but those are your people.
Well, one, they pay us, but two, they're in our, like, I really view it like they're kind of in our care, you know, like, and the coaches help with the day-to-day accountability. And we really do help with like trying to help them deal with their, you know, food problems, their addictions and shit like that. That's going to be prioritized for me all the fucking time, no matter what. And then I talk to like the people that are in business. Like I prioritize you guys, and I prioritize talking to Elgin. I definitely prioritize talking to Jeff, and I prioritize those things. I prioritize I message my mama once a day. You know, I prioritize talking to her, you know, no matter what. Luckily, Crystal and I get to spend time, you know, all day together. Otherwise, I'd fucking prioritize her over everybody, you know. Mama, sorry, but you know, like, but then I get to Instagram messages. Dude, I had 122 new Instagram messages this morning. You know, like, I mean, like, new.
Every time a new video drops, that like, you know, boom,
right.
It's like, well.
Yeah. And people get fucking, I mean, and I appreciate that I appreciate it. Like I do, I so much appreciate it. But some of them, like, here's what you can do for me. Don't send me a video from 2 years ago to tell me I should make a video on it. Because if it's more than a month old, I'm not going to touch it, because then it looks like I'm just reaching, and I don't want that. There's so much pertinent stuff I don't need to reach. You know what I mean? Like, it can be current and new. You know. Please, I mean, I'm very well aware of what V-Shreds does, and I'm very well aware of what Tyrone does. So I don't need updates on them. There's no need to send those anymore. I'm very fucking aware, you know, very, very aware. And like shit like that, you know, but if you're going to approach it where like you're looking for help, you can email me at aroberts@everydamndayfitness.com. Or you can go to the Facebook page, the Every Damn Day Fitness Facebook page, and message me on Facebook Messenger there. But Instagram makes it very, very hard, and I got to be real. I don't take Instagram messages as seriously because of the way you can be anonymous on there. I do take Facebook and email a little bit more seriously. In some emails, I don't answer if it looks like you're just being a fuckhead. But, you know, I like, if I'm going to answer questions, or if I'm going to answer questions about my services and stuff like that, I like it to be more attached to a real person, because then I know that like it's going to actually, you know, possibly be effective, versus somebody just fucking around the internet, like some, you know, like a fucking 12-year-old decided to fucking, you know, send 20 messages, you know, because I get that occasionally too, where like the person will like, hey, are you there? Hey, are you there?
It's just perspective, because most people don't either follow that many people, and most people don't get DMs, or they get one, so they think, oh, you know, they're going to see that, and then they'll comment on a video. It's like, hey, check your DM. For what? I'm not going to like go looking for one message, but it's just perspective. Most people don't understand like the volume and the lack of like, you know, proper interface that Messenger has until they like merge more, and they, you know, increase like your reply capacity and the ability. It's just too mobile based, and it's too hard. There's no organization in the DM section, really.
I also think part of the problem is that like people like the people we were talking about the OGs of YouTube fitness, which John was, and then the reason why John's still relevant, like you evolved, that's why you're still relevant.
Yep.
Like people that are pissed at you about your content evolving, John, like, I mean, that's because it's still relevant. Like I actually, you know, at one point in time, I remember like you were talking about yourself a lot, and I was like, ooh, like this was like 2 years ago. I was like, that's a mistake right there. Like, it's like people that talk about themselves all the time on their like make videos about them, like what I ate today with this and that. That normally doesn't turn out very well in the long run. Like people start to hate you. So you talking about relevant subjects and adding your expertise to it, I think was a brilliant move on your part. It keeps you still relevant, and it's something that the rest of them didn't fucking learn. However, another big problem that many of them make that fucks with all of us is they made it seem like YouTube was its own business, and they had like assistants. I can't tell you how many messages I get, like Alan or whoever runs his social media. Me, motherfucker. Like, I mean, I don't roll like that. Like, I mean, and you know, YouTube treats me pretty good, and I have 2 other businesses, and I still don't roll like that. No, I answer my own social media, motherfuckers. But many of these people would have like 50,000 subscribers or 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, and hire an assistant to do their social media. And I just that kind of, I think, is another reason why people were kind of trained to think that we're just going to answer every message, you know?
Yeah.
Or they have
John.
like videographers and stuff.
Yeah.
That's like something I noticed. I never had a videographer. So I want to I know that we're kind of wrapping these up, but I wanted to bring it back just one thing that I really, really wanted to touch on. And it was when Alan was talking about your identity. And there's a couple ways that we can go here, but the thing that I wanted to bring up is when it comes to like sustained weight loss. So like, you know, you lost 100 pounds and you've kept it off for 6 years or whatever, right? Because that's where I am, right? I think something that is unbelievably important is to realize that you should not identify as the formerly fat person, because when that becomes your identity, I always felt like I had this ball and chain that was kind of connected to me that I was always like looking back on. Mm-hmm. And I always felt like, I was like, I think we kind of touched on it on the one, it was just me and you, Dash, where I was talking about like, I don't compare myself to other people that have lost weight. So it's not mm-hmm. like when I do a workout or when I like ran the marathon or something like that, it's not like in my head I was like, well, no one else here lost 180 pounds, so like I did really well. It was like, no, I'm doing this because I just wanted to be like a guy that did X, Y, Z, right? I'm just a guy that does these things, goes on runs or does CrossFit or whatever. I'm not saying, oh, I'm the guy that lost 180 pounds that did these things, because I really feel like if that was my identity, I would never push myself as hard as I do. And another thing is, like, if that's your identity is the person that lost weight, you're just always going to feel like that's all you have to offer people. And I think it's not a road that you really want to go down. And it's interesting because I think that our identity should never be our weight or our fitness or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I would say that that's what fat acceptance would say they agree with. But then it's always, okay, well, how fat are you? Are you InfiniFat? Are you this fat? Are you a small fat? Are you a this fat? It's like, I'm a person. I'm not how much I weigh. I'm not this. I'm not that. It's just interesting because they always talk about how they're not their fatness, but then I'm an X fat and you're an InfiniFat. It's just interesting, like the identity of things. But like where I was going is you can't put your identity on the weight that you've lost. It has to be more than that. In the long run, I think that it's fine for that to be like when you are losing weight still to be like, oh, I lost 100 pounds, I lost 120 pounds. Like, it's fine that's your kind of identity for a while. I'm the guy that's losing weight right now. But eventually, after 5 years, you like, okay, you lost weight. What else do you got for me? So I think that's really important.
I agree with that, John. Something just popped into my head when we were talking about, your identity and, size and the InfiniFat. It's kind of like, it's literally the trend across all aspects of society. You even have Starbucks, the small is a grande, like it starts at large. It doesn't even start, like it starts at large. So like all the sizes of clothes, the sizes of drinks, just like the verbiage of it. It's like people don't notice it because it comes in increments, or you just notice like, oh, this is what they call it. Cool. And then, oh, the size, I have to get they don't think about what the size says. They just, okay, this one fits me. And then it gradually shifts. And all of a sudden everything is different. And, in a short period of time, there's like this whole, social shift. And I think this has just blindsided a lot of people because of, we had social media. I mean, Facebook, I was in college when it came out. So I was one of the first schools to be on it. So that was like the new thing. But then really literally within the last like 4 or 5 years is when it's just been like, this is the place, this is the thing, everyone's on it, everyone talks about it, then everything is here on, it's just more ubiquitous than it ever has been before. And of course it'll continue to do so, but it was such a slow, but then a rapid boil. And all of a sudden there's this idea, I think, that we as humans, as a society, we have shit under control. When this is so brand new, people just feel like, oh, this is the way it is. It's such a drastic shift from how life has ever existed. And it's just so completely flipped upside down. Most people don't recognize the significance of the difference and why there's so much chaos and all these things and emotions, because people are literally, it's like society is like an organism trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Like the first time you rode a bike, it's like shaky. Like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah. But then like that course correction where you just can navigate it, I think probably in the next 10, 15, I'm just making up years, but it's going to be a lot about more mental health. The meditation's going to take off. Like yoga, that's going to be the thing, because with all this, major, the esports and stuff that I'm fascinated about, and all this is all mental and cerebral. It's all upstairs. So you need to train your brain like you train your body. And if you train your brain, and that's why martial arts is great, you raise a kid with discipline from when they're younger. It gives them discipline in other areas of their life. Discipline in fitness gives me discipline with business, or gives me the awareness of the kind of like consistency you need for other things. And it's no different. Business, you work hard. Fitness, you work hard. And Alan, you made a video about the fucking quick fixes. Like, it's hard fucking work. People have no concept of what it takes to actually build a physique. You want to lose weight? Okay, a lot of people can do that. You want to have abs? Not everyone can do that. Not everyone will have that. Not everyone knows or has the passion and the fucking relentlessness to get to like extreme physique levels. And we just see it so often because there's 7 billion people in one cell phone screen. We think we see it so much. We think everyone has it. Just walk outside and see how many abs you see. Like, literally go outside the front fucking door. Like, I'm the only, probably one of the few people in my gym that can have visible abs, or that looks like they work out. I mean, most people look average. They work out, or they have some, but you don't see a lot of even like people that look like they lift in the gym. So from the outside, it's not all the answers, but obesity certainly is not a good idea.
I mean, in 10 years from now, like I'm hoping that in 10 years from now, this fat acceptance bullshit is seen as seen as in the same light as the people that used to say cigarettes were good for you. Like, I mean, like, because there was a time when people were like, "Oh, cigarettes are even healthy for you." You know, like, I mean, like, people, like, there was a fucking, I shit you not. If you can look it up, like, Google it. You know, like
4 out of 5 doctors smoke Camels.
Yeah, I mean, or they're like how it was at least glamorized. Yeah. You know, like where it wasn't a health problem at all. Like, you can't tell them not healthy. Like, I mean, it's that shit where all of a sudden, like, I think 10 years from now, people are going to look back at this and be like, how fucking stupid were we? Because this is stupid. I mean, it's just, it's dumb. I mean, like, it is the dumbing down of society to actually believe you can be 350 pounds and healthy. It's fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's why I get, like, I seem so exasperated some of the times. It's moronic. Yeah. I mean, that's why they need to be anonymous. That's why those bitches will never, ever come face to face on even they'll never come. I doubt that that guy Connor Simpson, I doubt he's going to find anybody to debate me. I doubt he's going to be able to find anybody, because my only stipulation was it has to be them, it has to be their voice, and they have to say their name. If I'm going to be out there, they need to be out there. You know, I mean, I personally believe in social responsibility, and they're so, like, when you say shit, you should be held accountable for it. Now, I understand you have the freedom to say whatever the fuck you want, but you still, like, it needs to be attached to you if you want to fucking say it. You don't need to be anonymous to fucking to state your points. If you do, that means you don't believe in them, in my opinion. And it's just fucking moronic how stupid these fucking people are. And I mean, I'm sorry if that hurts some of your feelings out there. Like, if I'm talking to you, but you're fucking stupid if you think you can be 400 pounds and healthy. You really are. Not a human being. That's, I know people are gonna be like, well, Brian Shaw will admit he's not healthy. You know what I mean? Like, he'll be the first one to fucking admit what he does is not healthy. You know, fuck. What's his name? The one guy, Eddie Hall. Eddie Hall admitted that fucking when he went for that fucking heavy lift, that it almost killed him. You know, like, it's not healthy. You know, even if you take an extreme of anything, it's not healthy. Extremely skinny is not healthy. Extremely fat is not healthy. Extremely muscular is not that fucking healthy. It's just not. Our bodies weren't made like that. They were made to be like within a certain parameters for our genetics to run, jump, everything like that. Like, we did evolve from animals that had to survive in the wild. Like, the problem is right now is like the domestication of them. Like, my wife always points this out. Have you ever seen like a teacup chihuahua? You know, like the little dogs? Yeah. It's completely man-bred dog, right? You know, like, I mean, like the concept of that came from what was like a wolf is crazy, right?
Yeah, all dogs. Yeah, it's nuts.
All dogs. That dog is so fucking fragile that if you fucking sent that out into the fucking wilderness, it'd be dead by a bird. You know, like, I mean, like, and I'm not talking like an eagle, like a hawk or even a fucking robin can kill one of those motherfuckers. They're tiny, right? That's what we're doing to ourselves right now. We are domesticating ourselves so much that we are taking the physicality of what makes us actual people, and we are removing that. And it's domesticating us, and it's morphing society into this unhealthy thing. Because anybody that knows purebred dogs that are bred to look a certain way or be a certain way or fit into a certain fucking box, they have more health problems than anything. And that's just the fucking truth. You know,
it's the glorification of cigarettes, the glorification of this, the domestication. It's the same thing with these eating videos. We've talked about, I mentioned yesterday in the podcast, that guy we talked about before, Alan Badlands Chugs, the guy that chugs just gallons of sugar for time. The mukbang videos, the 10,000 calorie challenges, 30,000. All these things are just glorifying the cigarette. And it's not really different. Cigarettes, you smoke a cigarette, you're not going to die today. You're not going to die today unless like you eat the cigarette and choke to death. You're not going to die today. But doing it over and over again is going to make you predisposed.
If you do that, you deserve to die.
Well, you will. I mean, if you choke to right? So like, and then
that is natural
then with
selection.
food, you're not going to die unless you choke on it. But it can kill. It's like the same kind of time frame as smoking in that sense. I mean, it depends. Some people are going to have a lot of problems a lot sooner. It
causes a lot of the same diseases.
Right on, and a lot of it's associated. You eat a big meal and you have a cigarette, and that whole classic, a cigarette after a meal kind of shit. Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things, and I mean we've touched on it a lot, but it's people are putting their identity in their weight. And so when we say it's unhealthy to be obese, they hear it's unhealthy to be Dave. It's unhealthy to be that person. Like, you're a problem as a person. And that's not ever what we've ever said. But the emotions are real. But again, it's like they're just emotions. It's how you feel. But it doesn't change the fact that the habits that you have right now might not be an issue, like you were saying. But in 20 years, there's going to be some serious stuff. Like that lady that posted the video that you shouted out, which was awesome. She was like, yo, I'm this old and I feel horrible. Like, this is not a life you want. Mm-hmm. And I mean, she's large, but it's not like she's like humongous giant, Mm-hmm. And it just goes to show you, like, that's all. It's so hard for me. Because you feel like there's no winning, because it's like we say this stuff and then we're labeled like that meme. It's like fat phobic, and you're just like, whoop, then now I lose. There's nothing I can say. Yeah. And it's like the thing for me is, though, if that's the mindset that someone has, I can't save them and nobody can. There's nothing I can do about that. My thing is for the other people that are really trying to lose weight and are really trying to make these things happen. I hate that, Alan, same thing as you, when people use that, 95% of diets fail. I'm like, who cares? So what? Yeah. Like, if you want to lose weight, they should be encouraged to do that, not discouraged by this group of people. That is what I am trying to fight. That is what I'm trying to get. Like, that's the point that I'm trying to get across, is that, okay, yes, it's hard. It's freaking the hardest thing I ever did in my entire life. Yeah. Also, it is the best thing I did ever in my entire life. That's what I'm trying to put out there. Mm-hmm. And if you're offended by hard work, well, I'm sorry about that. Guess what? Unfollow me, because you're not going to like any of my posts. Like,
absolutely.
Parentheses, I'm mad.
I'm mad.
I'm not even going to outro the pod. That's it. Boom. That's John. John's mad. I love it. I get this little tingle. I'm like, he's going to say it. He's going to say something.
He's going to say fuck.
He's going to say darn. I know it.
My girlfriend makes fun of me because I say frick all the time, and she makes fun of. There's that. Do you remember that video of that kid at the Sonic? These frickin' fricks are ruining Sonic, and he's like freaking out. She always makes fun of me because I'll say frick.
Frick is like the vegan sausage of words. Why wouldn't you just say fuck?
You're wasting a good vowel there, John.
I think I've told this story before, but the reason, like, I used to cuss a little bit when I was in high school, but I actually stopped because I heard myself on a video that I had made a long time ago on my channel. So if you want to check out the old videos, you might be able to hear it. But I heard myself cuss, and I was just like, I'm not really feeling that. So then I kind of stopped from there on.
I don't think I've ever used the word cuss before.
It would be like if I feel like if I tried to do it now, it would just sound so awkward.
Nah, you're authentic, so man. That's why the message is consistent. From each person's platform. Like, it's a normal progression. It's not a sellout progression. Like, when your content changed, like John, it changed because you're changing as a person, and you wanted to talk about different things. And Alan, like, it's all the like real content, like, it changes. You can see the gradual shift as like a person changes, and as a person changes approach, when you just go from one thing to another. Like, I have a video coming out tomorrow about one of these similar type things where you're just literally chasing views, and it's just more proof of that. But I think we need to expose or discuss more about the intent of the person. And I think as social media and as technology makes it more able to get a better, a better beat on the person's personality and like what they think and like, discussions like this, it just pokes a little bit more holes at people that just put out these little attention grabbing videos, and it just makes it look a little bit more frivolous and in their attempt to like grab attention. I think really as like the internet matures more and more, that's going to be like looked more down upon when someone is obviously just trying to get you to click. Like people are just going to wise up to that, and they see all the sponsorships and all like the different plugs, and just people want to see and hear like some real shit for once. Alan?
I personally, it's hard to decipher through for people. I really think that like real shit, like people are of course going to try to make, like we want people to watch our videos, of course. We absolutely do. It's what we do. I don't think I'd do this if nobody watched. That's for fucking sure, and that's just being honest. But like the ridiculous ones, like the attention grab videos, is like really. Is really how fucking people end up doing like the fucking Bozu ball bullshit exercises and shit like that too. Like it's just reached a point where I gotta be honest. I'm always surprised I have a following, because it's just me normally in front of a camera, like, and I like not that edited, nothing like that. Like, so I really oftentimes get surprised by it. I'm happy I do, but at the same time, I refuse to make video. Like I could have made. There's so many videos I could have made that I don't, just so people understand. Like, at one point in time, and we'll bring this up just real quick. At one point in time, I had made a few videos about Rich Piana way back when I started, and I actually said, I was like, somebody's in the comments said, you're just jealous of him. So I made another video about it being like, I would never be jealous of somebody that's probably only gonna live another year. And like 3 weeks later, he passed away.
Oh, you saw my video on that, Alan?
I don't think I did.
I did a driving while gaining, and I did a driving while gaining like a few months before, and on the thumbnail it says, "Will he die?" ?
Oh Jesus!
So I don't know if you found that. I don't know if you found that kicked up.
I deleted
trending.
my video. Yeah, I deleted my video as soon as like they said he fell. I deleted it, because once they said he went to the hospital, I knew he wasn't coming out. There's no, like, he was so unhealthy, it was ridiculous. I had spoken to people that actually knew him in real life and knew like the type of shit he does. He had a bunch of fake stuff in him. So like, I could have done, if I really wanted views, I could have done dozens of follow-up videos, just like every fucking buddy did. I didn't make another one. You know what I mean? Like, to me, I'd rather have what I say to be, poignant now. Like, I've done the whole comedy thing and stuff like that. Like, and I still enjoy doing that stuff. I try to be funny and all like that. But sometimes humor needs to kind of be put to the side. I don't want to just make videos just to make videos, because in reality, then it takes away the message of when I do make a video, I want it to have weight, And I don't think these people care about the weight of what they say. I think they care about the weight of their bank account. If that makes sense. And that to me is bullshit. I did want to say real quick, because I know we're probably getting ready to sign off. Tomorrow on my YouTube channel, The Women Take Over. It's my wife, who's at Damn Serenity on Instagram. Go follow her. But my wife, Crystal Roberts, Michelle McDames is going to be on there, which is, my thoughts will probably offend you, one of the vendors. And Christina Mosier, who's on Instagram, and Charlie Gold. Well, all four, they're going to discuss a bunch of issues and stuff like that on my YouTube, and that starts at 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I think all of us could agree. Like, if you went for the views, it would be do these mukbang videos, do these extreme lifts, try to balance people on different, try to do things that provide shock value. And I think a couple things that you said earlier, Alan, about, having time for you. I don't do a lot of filming in the gym anymore because I need to have like some church time, quote unquote. I need to, like, I've done so much filming for my private community and stuff, but like sometimes I need to go and I need to have like that part for me, or like you go for a walk and you need that time for your own self-reflection and just to be off and not to be connected, not documenting every last thing. But for each and every single one of you, the reason why we connect and the reason why I love doing these podcasts is because the intent, you don't have to put on an act. The reason why you have a following, Alan, is because you're authentic and you say what you mean. And when you're passionate about a subject, you make a video. And whether you're passionate about a subject 3 times a week or 7 times a week or 10 times a week, you make content according to that. So, it's not about necessarily the frequency or forcing it, but there just so happens to be so much content that there doesn't need to be a day where you don't have a video, because there's so much stuff to talk about. But at the same time, if you're doing it for the right reasons, it comes across. And like anything else, that's why you have a following, because people appreciate your honest opinion, literally, as you state, in every video. But it's true. It's true to understand that when I'm saying something, when I have a podcast, like, it's biased. It's my opinion. It's through my lens. It's through my experience. And if you don't hide that, like, what are you trying to say? Like, I'm saying, oh, this is the truth. I mean, it's the truth that we all, reflect, and that we all see, that we're all accustomed to. It's not because we want it to be this way. It's not because we want obesity to be a problem. If you could snap your fingers and be like, hey, you could be any size, and there has no like correlation, then that would be a whole different existence, and then we wouldn't have this conversation. So it's only because it's trending and because it's real and because it's affecting real people. And there's a lot of shit out there, and it's easy to fall into that trap of, who's looking at me, who's giving me a reach around, like, who's making me feel good about myself. I mean, that's subjective, of course, but depends on what you're into.
And graphic.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on. This is I can't. I have to make sure this doesn't get monetized at all. I'm trying to make sure, just one last shot in the dark. Like, hey, everyone flag this. So everyone's got their names underneath, and again, like Alan said, the ladies take over. No baldness, I don't think, on the channel tomorrow. So you're gonna have more hair than you've ever seen on the channel. Shit. But yeah, fam, everyone, thank you so much for joining. You could find Alan Every Damn Day Fitness and John Obese to Beast. Follow them on Instagram. Follow them on YouTube. Go watch their latest videos. I think everyone posted today. Go check that out. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think about this podcast. Drop it below, and I'm sure we'll be doing it again soon. Check out Alan's Ish tomorrow at 3 p.m., and we'll see you all real soon. Later, guys.
Later.
Peace.